I know I'm early. I know it's a Friday. Here's why.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Day.
It's Decision Day celebration time, so here's the deal. I don't know who's coming in for Apple TV. Basically, we sent out a big old blast. I kind of know who's coming in. I don't know who else might be coming in. Here's the rundown. We're going to have Bart Keeler coming up. We're going to say a couple of minutes. So Bart's in the on deck circle because I have to explain what's going on. Today, we're going to try and have as many folks on that you see on Apple TV as humanly possible to talk about their matchups, talk about Decision Day, talk about the season. We're going to save senior superlatives in signing the MLS 2025 yearbook to the Friday before MLS Cup. This is celebration of Decision Day today. So here's the deal. I know who's coming in at some point. Tyler Terens is coming in. Mark Followill set to join us at 9:30. At 10 o'clock, hang on, I've got my rundown here. At 10 o'clock, it looks like it's going to be Kyndra de St. Aubin, who's doing San Jose and Austin. Danny Higginbotham set to join us at 10:10. He's got Charlotte and Montreal. Dax McCarty is set to join us at some point. I don't know when that's going to be. I've also got Kalen Carr set to join us. I don't know when that's going to be. If guests collide, guests collide. That's the deal. And we get to talk about the entire thing that's going on here today. First guest is actually in an airport, and this is the reason why Bart Keeler is on hold. Kacey White joining us. Kacey D, where you be?
I am currently in Raleigh-Durham Airport right now, so waiting to board. I'm an hour delayed, but it allowed me to get on here, so I'm excited.
Yes, you're batting lead off really quickly before you hop on your plane. What match are you and Jess doing? The Wonder Twins or where?
We are doing Seattle Sounders at New York City FC, so I'm flying to LaGuardia to call the game from Citi Field tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's the only cross-conference game of Decision Day, so that gives it a little bit of an interesting twist.
Yes, and so you and Jess, the Wonder Twins, are at Citi Field doing this particular matchup. We've emailed Jess. We don't know what her schedule is. She could be being a mom. I don't know. So she has been alerted.
Probably.
Egan's been alerted. So everybody's been alerted. I want to catch up with you real quick since you're in an airport. Okay.
Of course.
This particular matchup means a lot to NYC because of the chaos and positioning in the Eastern Conference. Do you have your mathematical equations ready?
Hey, I've got about 36 more hours to do that, so I wouldn't say 100%. But yes, I mean, obviously they need to get the win to make it as close as possible. But Charlotte's really in the driver's seat for this one. But they're going to be focused completely on their game, try to get the win. It doesn't affect Seattle Sounders whatsoever. So I'll be really interested to talk actually to the staff this afternoon for Seattle, see what kind of team they're going to come out with, things like that, because New York City will be going 100% to be able to try to get the win. So it'll be a good matchup.
56 points right now. They're in fifth, tied with Charlotte, but the first tiebreaker is wins. Charlotte has 18 wins. NYC has 17 wins. When you've gotten into study hall getting ready for Seattle and NYC, what has stood out to you? What are you going to be looking for in this game at Citi Field?
I think one of the biggest things that we know is that Alonso Martinez likes to get behind the line a lot. And Seattle presses really well out of a 5-2-3. So I'll be interested to see, that transitional game of do they press high and is NYC able to break that? And they have to be really aware of Alonso Martinez. He's just really great in behind the lines.
For Seattle, we don't know what the lineup's going to look like. We talked to our buddy Nico Moreno from Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports yesterday. His thought is that it might be first choice just to keep the rhythm going of that lineup, even though the game means nothing. And if the game is decided 60th minute, then maybe Brian Schmetzer does some swap outs and things like that. What's the vibe you're getting from Seattle? Are you thinking first choice just to keep rhythm and the importance of that heading into the postseason?
I am. Are you hearing my airport announcements? It's not for me, by the way, so I'm fine. So just so you know. But I am going to show you that I am actually here so people can see that I am actually in an airport right now. But I got some time. So I actually completely agree with that. I think that sometimes you fall into the trap of other teams stay in form and then you haven't played for a little while, and then you have to come in and your team just isn't quite clicking. So if you don't have to manage minutes or you don't have to manage injuries, things like that, you can still have a measured approach about how many minutes players play together, things like that. But I think you come out strong. You get a good 45 to 60 minutes of the players that are going to be the most influential going into playoffs. And so that would be my expectation from Seattle.
All right, so KCD, you're in RDU and you're heading
I
to
am.
LGA. So RDU to LGA, miles and points. Hopefully you get them. You and Jess calling that matchup. Take your headset off, board your flight, get up there. We'll be watching. We'll catch up with you Tuesday. Bet lead off at 9:15. Thanks for dropping by from an airport.
Sounds good. Have a great show.
All right,
Bye.
there goes KCD. So that's Kacey White. That's what we're kind of looking at today. In some situations, when you're not catching a flight, you're going to be guesting a little longer, but we'll see what's going on. Okay, so now we bring in Bart Keeler and talk about everything going on USMNT. Reason we did that is because after this show is over, Bart has a new episode of the Soccer for US POD coming out. Lay it on me and find what's on your mind this morning. I know we're going to talk about Brad a little bit, and we'll talk about the episode a little bit. What's on your mind?
Well, first off, John, thanks for having me on this busy, jam-packed day for you. Look, I think this is a great time to remember that the USMNT played some friendlies over the weekend and looked good. And we talk about the positives from this window. We talk about some of the negatives. We do talk positively about Christian Roldan, so disclaimer for everyone out there. We're not putting an expletive rating on it, but we do talk positively about Christian Roldan, so I apologize in advance. But it was really fun to watch a team that looked like it knew what it was doing, John. And we kind of explain how this has been frustrating for the longest time of not having a coherent plan, it felt like. And now, after 3 unbeaten, after the panic that set in before that, after 3 unbeaten, we look pretty darn good. So that's what's on episode 129.
129. Okay, there we go. And I
double V.
CXIX.
XX.
Yeah, C. Wait.
Oh yeah, CXIX.
So 129. So C double XIX. So it's 129. There we go. Okay. You wanted to talk about Brad Gazan. I know that it's going to be. It's going to be our underlying theme for most of our guests this morning. That's going to be like, in Monty Python on the Holy Grail, when you try and go over the bridge and the guy asks the 3 questions. One of the 3 questions to cross over our bridge is going to be about Brad Gazan for most of the folks today. So go for it.
Look, I have to give my hot take that involves Brad Gazan. And it's that if Brad were just named the number 1 back in the 2016-17 years for that 2018 cycle, the USMNT would have been at the World Cup. I think people forget that Brad was playing incredibly well, not just at that point in the Premier League and then back in MLS, still at a very high level, but he was playing really well for the national team, and he had been there for quite some time. He had earned, in my opinion, his spot as the next dude to be the number 1 keeper. Tim Howard was aging. He was losing a lot of agility. Let's just put it that way. Let in some goals that probably shouldn't have been let in.
Yep.
And I do think that if Brad is your goalkeeper for the entire cycle, I think he would have been a much cleaner cycle. If you remember, it kind of felt like Brad got the away day starts, Tim got the home starts.
Yep.
That didn't really work well in that final match day. When you also look at the fact that was the first time we had lost 2 matches at home in a qualifying window campaign, Tim Howard did start both of those matches. And so while he can be the greatest that's ever done it in a U.S. shirt, it's also fair to say that Brad at that point in time was probably better than he was and better equipped, I think, to handle the stress and the travel of what CONCACAF was throwing at us. And it's my hot take, John.
Hey,
it's my hot take on Brad.
Nothing wrong.
I think he's an underappreciated USMNT goalkeeper.
No doubt about it. All right. So obviously we'll be seeing you this weekend at Mercedes-Benz and saying
No.
You won't. What are you doing?
Well, John, after I get off the radio with you, I'm packing up and heading to Orlando,
that's right.
Florida.
Well, WBGV and UCF
for the West by God
Virginia
Mountaineers playing at the University of Central Florida.
So WBGV and UCF. So
sorry,
that's all right.
I am missing.
Well, but you'll be tailgating.
Luckily, the game is at 1, so I'll be able to watch all Decision Day games that matter at 6 o'clock, so not Atlanta United.
Well, yes.
Can I give you my favorite matchup of the
Hit
weekend?
it. Go for it.
All right. I am excited to see what comes from this Charlotte-Philadelphia match. We know Philly is a bunch of instigators, and we know Charlotte has the instigator, the king instigator on their
So
team.
you're saying it's instigators and low down dirty cheaters? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm excited for that, mainly because Philly hasn't look, they're playing for supporter shield, if you will, right? They've got to maintain their top of the table form. If Vancouver wins and Philly loses, Vancouver, I think if the math turns out correct, will win the supporter shield.
Yeah, they're good.
They have first place in the East locked up, but you got to imagine they're playing for something.
Yes.
While Charlotte is also playing for, if my math again serves correct, home field spot in the playoffs, right? So there is actual things on the line there, which unfortunately a lot of the other matchups, especially in the Eastern Conference, not really a whole lot on the line. Nashville versus Miami will be fun because of the rivalry those two have created because of a lot of playoff or knockout round matches. But for me, it's Charlotte Philadelphia is the most intriguing match of the weekend.
Yes. Charlotte right now is a plus 145, draws a plus 260, and Philly is a plus 165.
Yeah, I'm not putting any money on that game. I think I would put over under 7 yellow cards.
Yeah,
maybe.
really? You ain't kidding.
I would go 7's a lot. I would go over 5 if they had any money on
yes.
that.
No, I'm right there with you. It's going to be chaos.
We're just taking those types of bets. Jim.
Yeah, really? We'll be talking about those too. So it depends on where you're going, but right now Philadelphia seems to be a plus 165 across the board. Charlotte, I've seen it 155 in the composite. That's courtesy of our friends at Odds Checker because our friends at Odds Portal were sleeping. Episode CXXIX coming up with the Soccer for US POD at 11:30, and it is cool to have you here to kind of lead off the chaos. You're batting second behind KCD and let everybody know what's going on. So, new episode of the Soccer for US POD. You're heading out of town because you've got WBGV and UCF. Be safe, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon. Have a safe travel. We'll catch up with you next week.
Y'all enjoy the madness of not just today, because there will be madness today, but enjoy the madness tomorrow on Decision Day.
Yes, absolutely. Be good, my friend. And there goes Bart with the Irish goodbye. And so now here's the skinny. Here's the skinny. All right. So, like I said, here's the rundown of what we got. We know, like I said, Mark Followill set to join us at the bottom of the hour. 10 o'clock, Kyndra de St. Aubin. 10:10, looks like Danny Higginbotham. Dax McCarty set to join us at some point. Kalen Carr set to join us at some point. You've seen KCD. And KCD has already said, Kacey White, who came in batted leadoff for us this morning, she said, and she just literally texted me and said this. She goes, if I land before 11, I don't mind hopping back on, but no pressure. And so I said, and so I'm going to tell her right now to come on back. So that's where we are. And joining us this morning, we're going to have issues with the man's ID plate. We're going to have some serious issues with it. One of our OGs who is coming in to crash the party, who is identifying himself as John Texter's Venmo this morning. TT, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being a part of this chaos that we're going to have here on Decision Day. I decided to sit there and just turn the keys over to all of you folks, and we'll see what happens and see who ends up screaming in a corner by the time we're done.
That sounds like a terrible idea, but if you ask my fiance, I am nothing but an agent of chaos. So I am here to stir the pot, throw some gasoline on it, throw a match, and then throw some more kindling on top of that and see what comes out on the other end.
And I totally appreciate you wanting to be John Texter's Venmo this morning, because I'm sure that your Venmo has more money than his.
You think that, but at the same time, if he's not paying up the $6 million, then he's got $6 million more than I have right now. But I'm getting married in 3 weeks. So if you do feel like donating, the registry is open. I'm willing to take at least half of the payment that's owed to Atlanta United at this point in time for the remainder of the balance left on the Thiago Almada transfer. And you can Venmo me at John Texter in parentheses, Tyler Terens in more parentheses, PT Martinez.
Yes. Thank you. So my friend, where are you on this weekend?
I am at the City by the Bay. I am in San Jose as they host Austin. Austin are locked into the 6th seed, but San Jose with a glimmer of hope. And listen, I liken this, John, to Atlanta United situation last year. heading into decision day, probably don't deserve to get into the playoffs, need a win, need a little bit of help in order to get there, and probably patching over some larger issues if they were to get to the postseason, Bruce Arena and the San Jose Earthquakes. But all you need is a chance on decision day, and decisions will be made. And I think that their chances are good to beat an Austin team that I think is probably going to rotate just a little bit, especially with guys coming back from international break. But I'm excited about this one because, I think one of the coolest parts about Decision Day, obviously, and this isn't going on in the Eastern Conference, is the teams that are quite literally fighting for their lives. In the East, it's more so positioning as well as wild card or not wild card, but very excited for this one.
And your tag team partner, as a part of the Rock and Roll Express, Kyndra de St. set to join us slightly after 10 o'clock Eastern time to get her perspectives on everything. I said coming into today that we're going to save opening up the MLS Apple TV 25 yearbook for the Friday before MLS Cup. So we're going to save all the senior superlatives. Okay. What you would, if you were the librarian for, if MLS on Apple TV had the yearbook and came up to the librarian, what would the librarian? Thanks for being such a great student in 2025. Signed librarian. That kind of a thing. We're saving for MLS Cup. When it comes to study hall getting ready for this week specifically, San Jose, to me, is literally both sides of the deal. It's like, okay, we're going to score a lot. We're probably going to give up a lot. They're going to be, and so I think, to your point and your introduction, I think that having an agent of chaos calling San Jose and Austin is fairly apropos. What has study hall been like for you discussing and discovering your fellow agents of chaos and that rotated side in Austin? What's it been like?
Well, number one, I don't think that MLS did that on purpose to have an agent of chaos. They know that I'm this agent, but I think it just happened to work out this way. But homework has, I've been geeking out a little bit on this one because I went back to go look at what Atlanta United's situation was, not only in decision day, but in the few weeks leading up to their qualification for postseason a year ago, and obviously then the upset against Miami. Looking back, really, because I'm going to be guilty of leaning hardcore in terms of like my storytelling towards San Jose, right? Because they're the team that has something to seriously gain or obviously lose. So but what I was also trying to do was really understand Austin from a larger standpoint in terms of like how they've gotten here. Because in order to really understand Austin's climb back into some sort of relevancy, right? And the only relevance that they've had is 2022, which Rodolfo Borrell said, we overachieved that year, underachieved in 2023. Can we bounce back in 2024? Didn't necessarily happen. But you have to go back to the Gio Reyna, Greg Berhalter fiasco in order to truly understand why Austin is in the place that they are as far as, player acquisitions, contracts, the whole thing to really get to where we are now. And that's sort of like where my homework has been lying, is like really getting a grasp on how bad they were defensively in 2023, made it better in 2024, but still can't score goals. And that's sort of the big issue. Brandon Vasquez's long-term injury doesn't help with that. And then for San Jose, Kyndra and I have had them a few times this season, and they're getting assigned them is sort of just injecting caffeine straight into my veins, because I'm this is going to be chaos. I mean, the game will just be properly drunk, and I'm here for every ounce of it. Because we did the LAFC game at Levi's, and it was insane. San Jose didn't decide to get off the bus until the 30th minute, gave up 3 goals inside of the first 20. And I mean, I adore this San Jose side, for the pure reason that you just don't know. Well, you know what you're going to get, but you just don't know the order of operations that it's going to happen. And keep in mind, these two sides played to an epic U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal back in early July. 2-2, 2 goals in stoppage time, ended up being a PK shootout win for Austin. So not bad blood, but I just think that these two sides, for whatever reason, especially given how good Austin is defensively and how they can't score, there's just fireworks whenever these two sides get together.
Yeah, it seems like San Jose draws the offense out of Austin FC.
Yes.
We know it's in there. Come on out and visit with the rest of us. Chicho Arango 13-7 this year. Some guy named Joseph 13-2. Then you end up with another handful of goal scorers. But having Chicho and Joseph have 26 of your 58, I think. I mean, that's tall cotton from those two to be 2 double-digit goal scorers for Bruce Arena.
Yeah, and he talked about that in our call leading up to it. And, Kyndra asked the question, what else do you need? Have you gotten enough out of Christian Espinoza? Have you gotten enough out of other people? And we were talking about Bo LaRue a little bit, who's one of my favorite rookies in MLS. And he was just like, I need more goals out of the midfield, plain and simple, because the guys that you just mentioned on top of Preston Judd, who's become sort of like a folk hero in that part of the country, like nobody else scored. I think Bo has 5 or 4 goals and
5 and 4. Yeah.
5 and 4. So, I get that Bruce wants more goals, but at the same time, John, like beggars really can't be choosy. Like if you were going to like try to have to fix something, I'd rather have Bruce's problem than have Nico's problem right now. Defenses can be fixed. Scoring goals, that's a personnel and a real sort of like ethos issue that you have to solve in the transfer market. But you're right. I think that they need some more support from further behind them. But at the same time, like the other thing to keep in mind too is that DeJuan Jones has missed 9 games this season for Bruce Arena. Yep. They've gone 2-6-1 when he's not in the lineup. And talking to Ted Ramey, the radio guy, he says like the wheels really came off when he picked up his second hamstring. I think it was his hamstring injury. And that's sort of been like a really big thing that they can put a finger on and a pulse of like why things have gone the way that they've gone over the past 7 or 8 weeks.
So the wheels on the bus went flat when he got that second hamstring injury, huh?
Yeah. And it makes sense, right? Because if you're going to play this 3-back system that Bruce is sort of, become enamored with, and you're talking about a DeJuan Jones guy that is way too familiar with what Bruce Arena wants and is going to ask of him. And there's a pretty significant talent drop-off when you're asking guys like Useni Buda or Kinkanovich or whoever it's going to be to fill in. And let's keep in mind, John, that like DeJuan Jones is a national team fullback, 18 months removed. So like, and I know that wasn't the greatest period, for the U.S. men's national team, but that's clearly been an issue, and especially defensively. And like Bruce has just said a couple of times, on his defense, he's just like, we haven't been good enough. I haven't been good enough. But he calls out the personnel mistakes and the glaring individual errors. And I was just like, well, if it's on you, then how do you fix that? And he goes, it's a daily battle. And I was like, okay, that seems to be more than just simply coaching. It's probably going to need to be rectified this winter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's only, and this gets into that whole chicken and egg argument. And you see that a lot here this season in Major League Soccer where, okay, the coach can only do so much. He and the staff can only do so much Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, if you're going to be on SNS. But if you teach 5 to 6 days a week and then it looks great, and then you go out there and it's just then how much of that is on the coach and the staff, and then how much of that is on the players who didn't implement it properly and got lost in game state and those kinds of things?
But you know what the funny thing is about, and the individual mistakes that he's talking about, like I've witnessed them firsthand. Like some of them are just like schoolboy errors that I'm making on Tuesday nights at in downtown Cincinnati on the West End. You can't account for that when you're going through your game plan. And I think that that's sort of what he's alluding to. Now, Bruce is really good about when he's in the media shouldering the responsibility, trying to take some of the pressure off of his guys. And I do think that he has 2 or 3 good defenders. Daniel Muni from Indiana University being one of them, who's in his 3rd season now. But like Dave Romney, probably on his last legs. Reed Roberts, I don't think really has been it. So I think that he's still really trying to figure out who he can trust. I don't think that list is particularly long at the moment. And how do you cover for that, right? And especially if you're going to try to lean it, and they can't be a side that's going to really just sit in and try to counter, because I don't think that they're quick enough on the other end to do that with Joseph. As good as he and Chicho can be together, I just don't think the pace is actually there. So they have to go gangbusters. And the coolest thing about Bruce is that he always finds a way to make his team competitive. And given what they came off of last year in the worst defensive season in Major League Soccer history, tied for 9th worst in points on 21, and doing what they're doing now, he's made them competitive. He's made them a team that has a shot on decision day. And I think that you need to tip your cap, specifically in a juncture in the club's history where they're up for sale in the majority stake in John Fisher. Mm-hmm. And he talks about all the time how far behind the 8 ball they are when it comes to facilities and the whole thing. I just got a tour of Chicago Fire's training facility on the near west side. Holy crap, spared no expense, $100 million. Guys from the Bulls are coming over because the Chicago Fire have equipment that the Bulls don't have. And I think that he's right in mentioning it. I don't think it's the reason why they're not a great team this year, but it all comes into sort of this big thing of Bruce Arena is so good at coaching in MLS. And when you're around the league as long as he's been, you're going to know every single nook and cranny to try to get the most out of your team within the league that you know so well.
Austin, for the longest time, own goal was the second leading goal scorer on the club. Then Brandon Vasquez gets injured, and you've spent all that money on those DPs, and you weren't getting any kind of a return on investment. It took the longest time for Uzuni to get north of Vasquez's number. Then you had Bukhari, who is still at 3 goals. I mean, to me, I've stared at Austin all season long, and outside of cup competition in the regular season, Major League Soccer, it's like, where are the goals coming from? And they never seem to show up.
No, and Kyndra and I saw them opening weekend against obviously a bad Kansas City side.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I was just like, I know it's week 1, but I don't really see where the goals are going to come from. And that unfortunately has held true. I'm sorry, but like I'm out on Osman Bukhari. Like I really am, because his deal runs through the end of 2027. I know that they brought him in for, I think it was around 4.5 or 5 million, maybe even a little bit north of that. But for me, he is a TAM player at best. He's not somebody who should be taking up that spot on your roster. And I don't think it has anything to do with Brandon Vasquez being injured. I just think that the quality isn't there. Like, I see the pace and I see the movement. I just don't see the finished product. And for that amount of money at that far up the field, it has to be there. And I think that that's a huge reason why. And then, like, Nico's talked about how trying to figure out the spacing between Uzuni and when Vasquez was healthy was really difficult, and that took some time. And Uzuni's like ran away to international duty, a number of times this year, and they've had to play without him. And Nico's mentioned how that's disrupted his rhythm. I don't know how that. I think that's more coach speak than anything. But yeah, just disappointing, but really solid foundational pieces. When you look along the back line, Nico Esteves' group always defends well. Owen Wolff has been sensational this year. I absolutely adore him. I think that there would be plenty of MLS teams who would be interested in cash for player, or potentially a move abroad. But yeah, he's got some good pieces to work with, but they still have a lot of work to do in the transfer market to sort this out in the attacking third.
Okay, Tyler, we've opened the door. It's 9:30, and we know what this means. That we go and check out, because you can't have MFFL without MF. Mark Followill.
Yes.
And Mark Followill joins us now. It took me like 15 seconds to come up with that line, Mark.
Wow. Hey Tyler, what's up, man?
What's going on, pal? I haven't seen you since we were running around Beverly Hills for Gold Cup. I miss you. What's going on?
That's what we do, John. Tyler and I hang out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
We watch reruns of 90210 and we hang out in Beverly Hills, man.
See,
great theme.
I thought that Kathleen Richardson really should have been Ian Ziering's girlfriend for the entire series. Literally, when she left to go to be in Paris with her dad, with the character, I'm like, seriously? That was the most chemistry that they had. I have before we get into
it's great to hear Tyler, and always has outstanding analysis. And so, man, it's so good to see you, dude. It really is.
Yeah. You go for your morning run this morning, Mark, or what?
I did not go for my morning run today.
You look slow right now. I need high energy, Mark. I need that adrenaline.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. My energy's coming.
I was going to ask, where in the world is Mark Followill now? Where are you specifically, sir?
I'm at home.
Okay.
I'm at home. Yeah.
Okay. Just
so this week we had it has been quite the circuitous week. I had my last Big Ten Network football game last week of UCLA and Michigan State. Best story in college football right now, maybe UCLA.
Best hair in college football right now.
Certainly Jerry Neisel has the best hair in college football. And then let's see. Then I had Mavs Jazz in Salt Lake City on Monday, and we had Mavs Lakers in Las Vegas on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So a light week for Mark Followill as well.
Yeah, I mean, just nothing. Yeah. So at home and getting ready to go to Denver today.
Yes, and I do want to discuss Colorado and the Rabid Prairie Dogs and LAFC coming up in a bit.
My adventure of the week, guys, is that late. We were running a little bit late on our Mavs flight from Vegas yesterday, so we didn't get the start time that we wanted here in Dallas. But I did go to the State Fair of Texas yesterday and had 4 funnel cakes. So I need to do the run. So.
Excellent. Yes, fried everything, and that's fried everything. It's like, okay, hey,
literally.
Hey, look, it's a Delta 88, and here's a seat from the passenger side, and we fried it. Okay, go ahead.
My wife had a fried potato salad yesterday.
Oh no,
so,
that's not a real thing.
Oh,
it is a real thing. Yeah.
No,
it's just kind of it ends up being kind of a potato salad croquette.
Yikes!
It looked pretty good. I just don't like potato salad. But I went with my usual, which is deep fried pho.
Deep fried pho.
Yes, imagine like a
That sounds
pho
like a
as
good
a
name for
burrito.
that sounds like a good name for a band. Deep fried pho.
Imagine pho as a burrito, and that's what it is.
Okay. I like that better than the potato salad. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like anything but. It's like choice C, none of the above.
John, by the way, did you do this on purpose? I mean, Mark's and I's games are joined at the hip. I'm basically going to be double boxing Colorado and LAFC while I'm calling my game.
Sure, why not? Yes, it was absolutely on purpose.
There you go.
Mark said I'm coming. I can come in at 9:30 Eastern time, and so Tyler Mark is one of our OGs. He goes back to so the early days here on the network and the morning show, and so Tyler, he knows how chaotic things can be and how off the rails it can go, and so he has embraced the chaos, as you can tell by his font that he has brought.
I can.
Yeah, so we thoroughly
can't tell that.
My first question for you obviously has nothing to do with Colorado and LASC. Can you talk to the folks at Hardwood Classics and tell them to stop producing things?
Man, we're excited. You're not fired up about
look, I'm going to the poorhouse buying all that stuff, man.
Well, everybody's got anniversaries, and 45th anniversary season, for example, here with the Mavs that we're doing. And so, 50th anniversary will be coming up. I love Hardwood Classics, man.
I do too, and they're taking me to the poorhouse. I saw the video yesterday of the release of the Mavs gear, and as someone who grew up listening to the games on WBAP 820 AM.
Yes, it can be heard in 38 states, I believe. When
we sat there and it's like, okay, AM radio 820, then everything's cool. I got into Brad Davis and Detlef and Rolando and Mark Aguirre and Terry Cummings and D Harp, the pride of Elbert County and Elbert County Blue Devil, D Harp himself. So when I saw the Hardwood Classics thing come out and the old gear, and I'm like, oh man, you're going to kill me with this stuff. So yes, please tell the folks at Hardwood Classics either they have to share with the rest of the class or they have to stop.
The bit of news that's interesting about it around here is I think a lot of people are excited about the green uniforms coming back for 12 games this year, but they also would like to see the old white with the green and blue accents come back too. So people are asking me, it's like, that's above my pay grade and not in a department I'm involved in. Yes. However, we do have a 50th anniversary season coming up in 5 years. So you just never know. Stand by for that.
Yes. And also, games joined at the hip, Colorado and LAFC. Rabid Prairie Dogs and LAFC. LAFC's bringing folks back from international duty. What has study hall been like for you getting ready for this one that has direct impact with the other gentlemen here on the show at the moment?
Well, Colorado is going into it, from their perspective, feeling unafraid and feeling that they're going to play on the front foot and they're not going to sit back and they're going to go for it because they have to, essentially. I know they feel pretty confident about what they have in store. That they think can challenge LAFC in this game, and that their perspective is, if you look at their results this year, they rise to the occasion against the good teams, and where they've gone wrong this year is performance against lesser teams, and where they drop points this year and why they're in the spot that they're in is because it's not because they can't play well against good teams like LAFC, it's because they can't meet the moment whenever they're playing against competition that isn't as high of a level as LAFC, if I could put it that way. I think LAFC, from their perspective, yes, they get Bawanga and Son back, and I think they're the class of the West. The only thing I would say about this game for them is, to our point about being joined at the hip with the games tomorrow night, is I think LAFC should fear no one in the West. I would put them as the favorite to come out of the West. Having said all of that, I would not want to mess around and drop a spot to fourth, because then that means Seattle. And I would not, even as much as I view LAFC as the team that is the favorite to win the West, and obviously they're playing well, and they didn't have all their folks for the game against Austin last weekend. I would not want to fool around with playing Seattle and Brian Schmetzer and a group that's been together and a group that's won CONCACAF, that won Leagues Cup this year. and get into a situation. Well, if you win game one at home, you have to go up there and win. Not an easy task. And then you get to one game winner take all in a first round series. So I think, to me, it was not positioned to us in the visit with Steve Cherundolo in that way. That's just Mark Followill's little opinion. Is I would not want to mess around with Seattle if I were them. So even though they can't move up to the number 1 seed, I would want to move up as high as they can or avoid dropping. Might be the way I would put it.
It's Mark. It's funny you bring that up because I was playing this morning, and John, you might know this name, Kenny Walker, who used to play for FC Cincinnati. And I play in this like 6:30 a.m. pickup game. And I was talking to Kenny and he was like, what's the playoff format this year? I can't keep up with it. And I said, oh, it's the best of 3 for the first round. And we were talking about how like there are some teams like a Miami, like Columbus last year, who are built for like single elimination. They play you once, they beat you once, they move on. For LAFC, Mark, to your point, I'm wondering if you think the same thing, like in terms of I wouldn't want to play Seattle in a one-off or in a 3-game series. But like, I'm curious if you think that's like more difficult to play Brian Schmetzer in a 3-game series, because specifically defensively, if you figure out LAFC's system, you stick to one game plan and then you try to get it done. And, if you get a draw in 2 games, then you give yourself a shot to win in 2 games.
To me, generally speaking, yeah, I would not want to play Brian and their team and a team that's been together in a one-off more than anything. And to me, it's just like the reason look, the first round's best of 3, so that's kind of why it comes up, Tyler. But in my case, from LAFC's perspective, that means you're either having to win the one-off game 3, or you're having to go to Seattle and win. And so you have 2 pretty difficult things that one of which you have to accomplish to win the series. So I wouldn't want to mess around. Like, for example, if they get into a second round situation, say they don't climb up a spot, say the table holds, everybody holds serve, Vancouver's 1, San Diego's 2, LAFC is 3. If you went and played a one-off game in San Diego, I mean, I know that they have a good crowd and they're a great story and everything, but I mean, how many LA fans would they be able to get into Snapdragon Stadium to change the calculus, for example, on how hostile the environment would be? So for me, it's a massive respect for Seattle, and whether it's playing them in a winner-take-all 3rd game of a first-round series, or having to go to Seattle and win one of those games, or if look, the thing about it is the way the standings work out is it's either you're going to stumble and face them in the first round, or it would be in a conference final, because they're not going to end up being at opposite sides of the bracket to face each other in the conference semifinals. And then by the time you get to the conference final, I mean, who knows, I guess, at that point, because health potentially could have taken its toll at that point. I mean, you got to play some difficult matches along the way, and you never know when you're going to lose someone. But all things being equal going into it and where they sit right now, that would be the biggest quote unquote concern I would have if I were LAFC, is I wouldn't want to fall into a first round series with them.
Yeah. I mean, I asked Nico Estevez the same question because they have a possible 3 different opponents for the first round. It's LAFC, Vancouver, and San Diego. LAFC, San Diego, and Minnesota. And I was like, do you have a preference? He goes, oh, not really. Like, if you want to win, like, you have to beat everybody. I was like, and I literally pressed him on it. I was like, don't tell me that you are okay with playing LAFC in the first round. I know you would rather see them in the conference semifinal, but of course he stood pat and he would give an inch on that. But it was coach speak. I'm sure over a beer he would have different thoughts and something.
Yeah. There's a lot of coach speak is going on right now. If I were at the top of the West, I would feel pretty good about where I was right now in terms of who you would get paired off with in the first round, whoever it is. No disrespect intended for any of those teams. There's just, when I look at if we're comparing the conferences, I think the regular season results speak for themselves. And that doesn't mean that anything weird can't happen, of course. But the Western Conference, there's this gulf between what you have at the top and what you have at the bottom. If you look at the points I'm talking about that separate those at the top and those at the bottom. In the Eastern Conference, and John and I had this discussion when we talked about the woes of Atlanta United this year. Mm-hmm. And one of those things is they play in the far more difficult conference where I think top to bottom, there isn't nearly as much of a spread of what the 2 or 3 best teams in the East look like compared to who you would face in a 6, 7, 8 playoff series. There isn't nearly that much of a spread of teams, and they're just all really good and all have things that if I were prepping for an opponent in an Eastern Conference playoff series, there's some stuff that would keep me up at night. If I were a coach having to prepare for one of those potential opponents. So, that's just kind of my perspective on the conferences as we head into this getting started next week.
So, Mark, let me ask you this. We all know the shiny objects in your matchup. Give me somebody second level that you think is key to the success of either one of the teams that you're going to be calling. So, shiny objects and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, with LAFC, we're drawn to Bouanga, Yeonmin-son, et cetera. Anybody second level that you think would be key to their success, and anybody that you think would be key to Colorado's success that we don't necessarily focus on as that player to watch in the Open?
I'm going to go with, that's a great question. That is an excellent question. On the LAFC side of things, I'll say Tim Tillman.
Okay.
With Bouanga and Son back, then he's going to be playing in different parts of the pitch where I think they feel a little bit better about where he can find spaces in attack and make decisions and create opportunities. So I'll go with him. And this is a good question. I know how much they like Connor Ronan in his role in Colorado because I'm trying to avoid the shiny object.
Yeah.
Although when you get to games, let's face it, when you get to games like this, shiny objects really matter.
Yeah. Because
somebody's got to rise and have that one moment and be calm and cool and collected under pressure and finish. So Bouanga and Bouanga LAFC, Sonny Navajo, Paxton Aronson, although he hasn't produced much in his time with Colorado, you naturally think shiny objects when you get to this stage of things. But I know how high they are on Connor Ronan when he's playing in a deeper lying midfield role. They just like the connections that he has with players who play in front of him and his range of passing. So those are two guys who don't have any numbers, quote unquote, that would make you think, oh, wow, these guys could be really influential in the matchup. But I just know based on conversations this week or in past lead-ups to past games this year, I know what the respective managers think of those players and how they can do things that are important to success of the teams without necessarily it showing up in counting stats, as we might say in basketball, or in this case, I think it'd be applicable to football as well.
Who's your tag team partner for this matchup?
Warren Barton. Yeah.
Okay. So have you
former tag team partner of Tyler Terens during the Gold Cup this year?
I know. Yeah. So have you converted Warren to the ways of the Mean Green yet?
No, I have not. Yeah.
He needs to understand the season that you're having so far this year. He needs to understand that when DATCU is sold out, this is a big blanking deal, man.
Yeah, I'm going to. We'll discuss it tomorrow, but then I'm going to have no choice but to discuss. It's like, hey, did you see the game last week? Which of course he's going to say no, and then I'll bring up the Friday night performance against South Florida and say, well, the problem was, the stadium was sold out, but we had the worst middle eight in the history of college football in that game last week, where it went from 21-14 North Texas late in the first half to 42-21, and literally this all happened, and how. Tyler, I don't know if I'm sure there is something I'm just like under the heat of the moment blanking on it and can't think of it. But it's funny how new words and vernacular and concepts get introduced to these sports all the time. And the one that's happening in college football right now that people are obsessing over is the middle eight. So by that, I mean the last 4 minutes of the first half.
Yes.
And the first 4 minutes of the second half.
Okay.
End of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter.
Got it.
Because so many teams defer when they win the toss. So you can get the ball to start the third quarter. So how can you manage the clock at the end of the first half where you have the ball and you have the last opportunity to score, and then you've got a chance to double up because you'll get the ball to start the second half.
Yep.
So that's really that is the phrase of the year, I feel like, in college football analysis right now is how you handle the middle eight. Because the pendulum can swing so much in that stage of the game. And we did not handle the middle eight very well last week. I mean, disastrous would be perhaps being kind for my Mean Green.
Discipline, Mark. You got good coaching opportunities there. You head into the locker room. You got really good chances to set your team up for success. That's all I got to say. Discipline. Guys aren't going out and executing, but that's what you get with college kids, right? They're just gonna be off in their own world, and that's why we love college football.
That is what you get when you put your faith in when your faith and your success rests on 18 and 19-year-olds.
Texas San Antonio heading to DATCU is get-in price, by the way, $32 for 3:30 Eastern kick. And
I won't be there for it, but I'll be there for I'll be at DATCU for North Texas and Temple on Black Friday. So that's
they're running a promo for the World Cup that if you go to that game and you pay $32, you get into the first game at AT&T Stadium for the World Cup as well. That's what I hear.
Wow. Okay. I got to admit that's somehow that promo got off my radar.
That's what they're calling dynamic pricing, is that they're pairing it up with mediocre college football games to get into the World Cup.
Wow. North Texas 3.5, 65.5. Mark, as always, it's great to see you.
I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, really. So it's great to see you, my friend. Congratulations on the recent announcement having to do with the round ball on the national broadcasting scale. We got to see.
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Yeah, looking forward to being part of the group and getting a chance to do a few games along the way for them. So that'd be
awesome
fun.
news, Mark.
Thank you.
And so
thank you so much. Thank you.
Just be safe, have fun, and we'll be keeping an eye on things, and we'll continue to raise all kinds of hell. And you're welcome here anytime, Crash. And it's always great to see you, my friend.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate that. Tyler, man, so good to see you. Have a great call, as I know you will tomorrow night, and we'll be watching your game closely as well, depending on what's going on. We get, the funny thing about it is Colorado's got they've got their fish that they've got to fry tomorrow night, and LAFC's got irons in the fire. So there's two really compelling storylines in the game for positioning. So we're looking forward to it, as I know Tyler's looking forward to his game tomorrow too. So.
Yeah. All right.
Safe travel, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Take care. All the best.
There he goes. Because I assume that the funnel cakes, they're probably just sitting. I mean, seriously, they're probably just sitting right there in that stomach.
I feel bad for 42 hours after I eat a funnel cake. I can't do it. It just doesn't go down the way that it needs to. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, being 714 years old, I know when it's going to be bad. You have to kind of budget out for it and those kinds of things. Here's the rundown once again. Your tag team partner set to join us at 10 o'clock. Danny Higginbotham set to join us at 10:10. Dax McCarty set to join us at some point. I don't know what that translates into Eastern time. Kalen Carr set to join us at some point. Once again, I don't know what that translates into Eastern time. I think Jess Charman's going to try and join us. And Kacey D has said that if she lands at LaGuardia in time as the show is ending, she's going to basically be the bookends of the show, coming on, batting leadoff, and parachuting in, and let us know that she landed safely at LaGuardia. This is the content that we have here this morning.
Yes, I will stick around until my better half of the broadcast booth shows up, and then I'll make it feel like as soon as she popped on, that's when I wanted to leave.
Okay.
Her and I have breakfast scheduled for tomorrow morning. Very much looking forward to it. Obviously we had the international break, and we just sit and chat and drink coffee and talk all things Major League Soccer, and a lot of the times not MLS, which sometimes can be enjoyable as well.
But that's kind of why that's what we do here. It's just like it's a morning show. Let's have fun. Let's have information. Let's have conversation. Let's have chaos, and let's bring it on, and all the things. All right. So let me ask you about your lower third. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And John Texter seems to be kicking the legal can down the road. Bra owes Atlanta United about 30 million bones, and he's just seemingly kicking the can down the road, trying to go, okay, hey, Cass, I want to challenge this. And so now Cass has to think about it. We've talked about it with another one of our programs and another one of our guests who follows things when it comes to multi-club ownership and stuff. I'm still wondering why anybody does business or will do business with John Texter because of everything that has been going on with this shenanigan ever since the Thiago Almada chaos started.
But I don't understand what he's holding out for, because that balance is $6 million, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, what do you think? You're not going to have to pay it at some point in time? Sure, you can kick the can down as far as you want, but you're going to end up paying the fine. You're going to end up paying the remaining balance. I don't really get why. What are you trying to accomplish at this point in time? I for the life of me, I don't understand. And owners and people in those positions in our sport do some crazy things sometimes. Mm-hmm. But this in particular just seems so black and white. And I'm like, what do you think you're going to win or prove with all this nonsense? And from everything I read, it seems pretty clear cut. I don't know why FIFA continues to say like, oh, we need to take a deeper look at it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what do you need to take a deeper look at? Slap the fine on him, make him pay the money, and let everybody move on with their lives. Like this whole nonsense of, well, sold him to a football holding company and not actually a football club. Like, get the hell out of here.
No, it's literally this is as I have tried to parse the details. Literally what you did is, okay, you had a transaction with the time. It just so happens that the franchise that you transferred him to is a part of a larger conglomerate. And we know that you can shift, deck chairs and do whatever, fine. So the key is that the money that was owed, it's $21 million, and that was owed, and you missed your first two payments, if I remember correctly. So
was it the first two or the last two to get rid of the remaining balance of?
No, it was literally out of the blocks. No, it literally.
No, but he ended up paying. Sorry, continue. Sorry, keep going.
No, I thought it was just from what I understood, it was the first two payments he missed to Atlanta United, period. And then it's like Atlanta United was like, bruh, you got to like pay here. And he's like, no, I need more time. But it was after missing the first two where Atlanta United went to FIFA and was like, you see what's going on here. We need a judgment on this. And that's when it went to FIFA, and they came up with their judgment, and they told Texter that you've got to pay this. And it was $3 million at 3% interest, and then $18 million at 3% interest, and it continues to accrue. And then you have the sell-on fee that was that's there with Atlanta United involving Thiago Almada. So that's, I think, another $5 million on top of it. So you're looking with interest somewhere close to 30 million bones here. And John Texter he's like, no. I know I missed the first, but I thought we had an understanding that I was having problems with it and that we could work something out. And Atlanta United was like, well, no, you missed the first two. And he goes to FIFA and he says, I need more time. Then he goes to CAS and says, I need more time. And literally it is driving me nuts. And it's driving a lot of Atlanta United fans crazy. And Botafogo fans are mad because they're now on a transfer embargo. And he had to sell his Crystal Palace stake to Woody Johnson to help out that part of the multi-club model. So, yeah, it's all over the place with this guy.
Okay, I misread it. I'm seeing it now. By the way, more of a death sentence than to sell part of your club to Woody Johnson. I mean, I'm a Jets fan. And,
yeah.
If there's one way that you can quickly ensure that your team is going to have zero success, it's to put it in the hands of that individual. So we don't need to go there. And I don't really care, but I'm happy to go there at the same time because
the pride of Harrison High School, Justin Fields. Yes. He's a local.
So bad at football. So bad. I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete, and he should go be an Olympian for the United States and win 5 gold medals in 5 different events. But you need to be able to throw the football. I'll tell you what, why didn't the Jets go trade for Joe Flacco? Because having Justin Fields as your quarterback is more or less the same thing as having a quarterback with turf toe. So we could have easily gone to get him. But anyway, I digress. This Texter situation, I don't get it. And needing more time and the whole thing, I'm just he does not really seem like a.
I don't think he's got the coin, and it's not liquid, and he can't, because what he wanted to do when he was last year, when he was part of the group that owned Lyon at the time, before I think he sold to Michel Kang, he basically went to their version of the FA. And they were running a debt. And so he goes to their version of the FA and says, well, how about if I transfer funds from Botafogo here to Lyon to cover the balance of what I owe you here in France? And the French FA was like, nah, fam, that's not how this works. You can't just transfer funds from one club to another to settle a debt. And that was why he eventually ended up having to sell, was because you had that and the Nottingham Forest situation and all these different kinds of things. And it's, why is he still allowed to function as an owner in Botafogo?
Plucking him now from everything that he's got his tentacles in would be more of a disaster than letting him stay. So I have a feeling that that's probably why. But I'm with you. But once he settles his debts, he should be placed on on a blacklist of you are not allowed to go anywhere near the beautiful game.
Yes,
you're not good for it.
No, and so maybe you're on double secret probation, or the owner's version of the death penalty. something like that, where you're not allowed to function or anything. So it's just So your lower third, I knew it was going to drive me up the wall, and just because of the recent stuff from Cass. And well, I mean, for those that might have missed, for those watching on the video side and just listening live, last time Tyler came in, he was Pity Martinez. He fonted himself Pity Martinez from an airport. He was sitting in front of a Sbarro, waiting to hop on a plane at CVG to go to parts unknown and call for Apple TV. By the way, apparently the new home for Formula One come 2026. I believe that was announced this morning. So huzzahs and hoorays for those of you at Apple TV for adding Formula One to the mix. But yeah, so he came in as Pity Martinez. He's coming in as John Texter's Venmo. How are I forgot to ask. This is so silly of me. How are the plans for the wedding going, by the way, 3 weeks away?
I'll tell you what, I'm not the most popular man in the house, leaving for San Jose and going across the country and not coming home until 6:00 on Sunday.
Is that the case, Kyndra? Is he not the most popular man in his own house?
I want to know why he's not coming home till 6:00 on Sunday. I'm landing at 5:30 in the morning.
Because there's no red eye that can get me home in time. It's not worth it.
So the next option is landing at 6?
Well, because I'm going to, first of all, good to see you, Kyndra. Always.
Well, first of all, the fact that I have to follow you, what the heck? Who planned this setup?
He crashed. He crashed.
I'm just kidding. It was probably my schedule anyways that dictated knowing the craziness that I'm trying to accomplish over here.
No, absolutely. But yes, apparently Tyler is the least popular. It is like literally, it is the boss, it is Nala, and it is Tyler right now with 3 weeks to go before the wedding.
Well, that doesn't surprise me one bit. That's how it is in every house, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I was popular when I made dinner last night. I
there you go.
Solo stove outside. I had everything ready for her when she came home from a women's networking event at GE. Like she usually does once a month. And then this morning it was like, all right, bye, see you never. And I have 17 million things to do for the wedding, and you're just going to go talk about soccer for 2 hours and be gone. So.
She's just, doing engineering things, solving world problems. So I'm sure it feels, you and I had this conversation at breakfast a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. Like what we do seems a little bit lower on the scale than what she's accomplishing over at GE right now from an engineering standpoint. But you know what? We bring people joy and happiness with, soccer. It's a chance to escape. We're just pure entertainment.
Yeah. We'll keep telling ourselves that until we feel good.
Yep. The boss in Tyler's household brings things to light, and we just sit here and talk about the beautiful game all the time. My friend, it was great to see you. Thank you for crashing. Will you please update us on everything coming up on the impending nuptials as we go forward?
Of course.
And the handoff here to hour number 2. It's great to see you, my friend. You can crash anytime.
Appreciate you, John. See you in 24 hours, Kyndra.
Yep. See you for breakfast.
There it goes. All right. So, Tyler is one of our OGs, Kyndra. He's been with us forever and ever since we kind of started this madness. And so he's like, my flight doesn't leave till 5:30, so I can come in, I'm like, okay, fine. So we had him, we had Kacey White come in as she was boarding her flight in Raleigh. We had Followill come in to talk about things, and now we have you to discuss the other half of the equation. I think Danny Higginbotham is slated to come in behind you. I know Dax is supposed to come in at some point, and Kalen Carr is supposed to come in at some point. So that's the rundown.
Perfect.
That's the rundown as I know it. There could be other folks. There could be chaos. I don't know.
You know what, though? The beauty of it is each of us can come on for 10, 15 minutes, spew our stuff, and because all of us are just, running somewhere else. So we just give you a little bit of hopefully wisdom, and then we head out.
Exactly. That was the plan. In addition to bringing in chaos, it's just kind of put faces to decision day, focus on matches and things like that. We talked to Tyler a little bit about the matchup that the two of you are going to be covering. How much chaos are you anticipating, knowing that everything is on the line for San Jose and Austin? Yes, but not as much. How much chaos are you thinking that's going to happen here?
Well, I think this could be a case where San Jose actually rides roughshod on this one, because I do think Austin might fall into this little bit of a slip of we've secured 6th position. We can't get better. We can't get worse. They've been in this crazy grind with US Open Cup. It sounds like that really took a toll with that US Open Cup final and the way that went down, mentally and emotionally, to get over that. And Nico Estevez keeps referencing hey, I'm glad we have 2 games before playoffs start to kind of get ourselves right and get ourselves back in a routine. So that just tells you how much that kind of did a number on them to make it all that way and lose in that fashion. So I think that they were more trying to just get through this to get to the postseason. And we can all tell ourselves as professionals and having played in sports and everything else that you're going to show up and you're going to give it your all and you're going to treat it as a must-win situation. But we're also all human. And so I have this feeling that Austin may be looking past San Jose. And even though the result technically doesn't matter on the stat sheet, on the standings, it does matter, I think, mentally and emotionally on how they go into the postseason. And they might feel like they let themselves down if they let this one slip. And San Jose, on the other hand, you said it, has nothing to lose and everything to gain. And Bruce Arena is very bullish on saying, like, if we win this game and take care of our business, I feel like we could have a pretty good shot of getting into the postseason. They need a lot of help, but all they can do is take care of their business. So I think this could end up being a San Jose show, honestly, quite honestly, in the way they've lost their last couple games. Coming off that Vancouver game, are you kidding me? That was embarrassing. They got outplayed, outcoached, Bruce said. So I think they're going to come with something to play for.
Where are the goals going to come from Austin?
Oh, that's a good question. We talked about this yesterday with Nico Estevez, and Usman Bukhari has been good, but not good enough, in my opinion. I think he has trouble with his decision-making in the final third. Too oftentimes he takes it himself when he should be passing, and he passes it when he should be taking it himself. I think he's caught between two minds at times. And Murto Ozuni, if he's healthy and ready to go and fit and ready to play mentally and physically, he should be the guy that's kind of leading this line. I know he wears the number 10 and I think he's listed as a midfielder, but for me, he's more like an attacking player that should be pushing a little bit higher up the field. And they need more from him for how much they paid for him. So for me, that's kind of where my eyes fall for this game in particular. In particular, I would love to see Owen Wolff with a few more bangers. I mean, he's capable. But, I also love that he's a little bit deeper in play make. So I think Murto Ozuni, this is his time. He's got to shine. He has got to step up and shine because they paid a lot of money for him. And I don't think they've gotten quite what they needed out of it.
And if it's not Chicho or Joseph, who's the third option for San Jose?
I said to Bruce yesterday, I said, does it bother you at all that Espinoza isn't more goal dangerous? He's, an excellent crosser of the ball. He's a great assist man. But he has that ability to cut inside and be goal dangerous. And, whether it's on his right or his left, quite honestly, I think he can be effective. I would love for him to find a way to kind of bust in these moments and be a little bit more effective from a goal scoring perspective. I think he only has 4 or 5 goals on the season. Yeah. So it's not like that's his thing. But why not? Why not be that person? Or, Bo LaRue, who I thought has been fantastic. He's fizzled a little bit as the season has gone on because it's very demanding. It's physically, mentally demanding. It's a long season. But now Bruce has been kind of resting him, giving him a little bit of a mental, physical break. So is this the time where he can come and shine? And there's nothing I love more than that, like late arriving run on top of the 18 that nobody's expecting and that you end up being the finisher. Because everybody's on Arango, everybody's on Martinez, all eyes are on them in and around the box. So can he maybe step up in this time to shine decision day? And if they make it to the postseason?
With someone like Bo, I think that with a young player, with all the young players that come into Major League Soccer, I think probably the most matches they ever play in a year would be on the collegiate level. There's always that moment where they bonk. And that, for those that don't know that term, that's the running term where you sit there and you just hit the wall. And it's about learning to get past that as a soccer player, pushing through that and understanding that your body can do more in a season. Are we getting to that second step with Bo LaRue now where he's kind of pushed through the madness and he's like, okay, I know that I can do more here? Are we at that stage, you think?
I think so, because I think Bruce Arena is so smart in how he handles these young players, and he's been around young players for so long, whether it's been in his professional career, collegiate career, or even with the men's national team, and kind of trying to get these guys and help these guys through these moments. And for me, a lot of times with the young players, it's just as much mental and emotional as it is physical. Because you have to imagine that most of these guys that have come from college were the top dog, right? They're the top of the top. They've been drafted high. They've been waiting for this moment all their life. So physically, they're talented, right? They've got the physical capabilities, but it's just that you said it, hitting the wall. It's the amount of games, it's the travel, but it's the mental and emotional toll on top of it. So it's like this giant great yet awful package all in one that you're trying to deal with. But these young players have also had more preparation for these moments than any of us ever did. Ask Chris Wondolowski in San Jose. Like what kind of, preparation you had at his time coming out of college or getting ready for the professional level. And there was no nutritionist. There was no, strength and conditioning and a massage therapist and, all these things and sports psychologists, which I think is more than necessary these days. And I'm so glad that's been implemented at younger ages. But these guys are kind of come in ready. And then it's just a little bit, you said it, getting your body to understand you can plow through this and mind over matter. But Bruce has done a good job, I think, in resting him at just the right time. But then it's getting the young player to understand, I'm not resting you because you're not good enough. I'm resting you so you can give me all you got when you get on the field at these late stages. And it's getting them to understand that, because we all as athletes view it as, I'm being benched. What did I do wrong? Why am I not playing? So hopefully Bo and Bruce have had some good conversations and he'll be ready to go, because I think he's ready to go for this game in particular, and then hopefully the postseason if they make it.
You're in the Western Conference this week for Decision Day, and the playoff races are interesting on both ends of the spectrum. Seattle's just kind of there. They're watching everybody else and seeing what's going on. The activity in the league group and then the chase group in the Western Conference. How many devices are you going to have fired up in the booth, keeping an eye on everything else so the math is there on Decision Day for you?
Well, first of all, you said one key word there, math. And I don't do math.
Me?
I leave that to Tyler, and he knows it. If he brings up math at any point in the broadcast, I'm like, nope, I don't do math. Like, I can look at scores, but I'm not doing math. So I'm going to leave all that rigmarole to Tyler and to the producer and the director and everybody else, the powers that are much smarter than me. I guarantee that I will have some sort of alerts, silenced on my phone, but going off to kind of give a score update. But usually Tyler kind of smacks me on the arm and points at his screen if there's something meaningful that's happening, So that's usually how I kind of roll with it. But same thing though, like the fact that we're on the West Coast, we get those early games. Mm-hmm. So I'll be watching those in the hotel room where you're glued to that. And you just want to know what's going on in the league and around, especially on Decision Day. And some of the not meaningful games are still meaningful and they can still be good games. So that's always, I look forward to those too, because I think there's some surprises in those as well.
He smacks you in the arm?
That's okay. I probably hit him much harder. This is something that started with me when I was with Callum Williams with Minnesota United. I mean, during the game, right? You're watching a game and there may be things that happen that I can't comment on because, it just wouldn't be kosher. Yeah. So I would smack him in the arm like that. And he's like, like silently, because we have our own communication kind of non-verbally throughout a match that we can't say all the time. Like, what the heck was that guy thinking? What is he doing? So it's more just like a friendly, we'll call it a love tap, but a nice little smack in the arm. You'll have to ask Cal about that if you ever have him on.
Yeah, we were trying to get him on because he and Kalen are calling the Atlanta match, and it looks like Kalen got drafted for that one. But yeah, Callum is on the list of folks. Just to give you a bit of a warning, we are going to do this again the Friday before MLS Cup to open up the MLS high school yearbook and sit there and sign it and sit there and do all the superlatives and things like that. Before you go, give me a player on each team that is not in the players to watch category that is traditionally a part of either the open or the early activity in the first 45 that you're going to keep an eye on that's going to be key to the success for either of these teams that you're covering on Saturday.
Well, I'm going to go with Ian Harkes for San Jose because I think his role in the midfield is going to be crucial with some of the errors and mistakes that Bruce Arena has spoken so much about defensively. And he's talking about individual errors, some of them goalkeeping, some of them center backs. So I'm going to go with Ian Harkes because I think it's going to be important for him to cover and really help out defensively if he's dropping in and as that 6 to more of like a center back role to help out and just eliminate some of the silly turnovers that happen in front of the defense that puts that defense in a precarious position. On the other side of the ball, I'm going to go with John Gallagher. And I don't even know if he's starting. We don't have the 11s or anything like that. But let's say if he starts, I think he's always incredibly effective and he's such a competitor that he could be this dangerous position in a wide area that can just catch opponents off guard. And everybody's going to be keying in on some of these other aspects of Austin. So I'm going to go with John Gallagher and I'm going to go with Ian Harkes. And I don't think they're on the watch list for either team, but I would key in on, I would look to those guys just to see if like, hey, yeah, they're doing a little something different that's causing problems. Or Ian Hark's, vantage point, he's doing what he needs to be doing to help this defense, and maybe they keep a clean sheet.
Kyndra, it's great to see you. Don't be a stranger. Good luck on decision day. Safe travels. May everything be as clean in the house at the Casa de St. Aubin as you leave it when you return, and that everyone has cleaned up, put things in the dishwasher like they're supposed to. The yard work is done as you get ready for the rush into the playoffs. As always, great to see you. Thanks for coming. You know where the garage door opener is. You know where the key is under the mat. Come by anytime.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You got it. Kyndra de St. Aubin. And I just had this vision of her and Callum, where Callum is talking into the hooded microphone, and Kyndra like smacks him, and then you hear this from Callum. So that has been the first hour and 10 minutes of the show. It has been Kacey White from the Raleigh airport. It has been Tyler Terens from his house 3 weeks before a wedding. It's been Mark Followill joining us. It has been Kyndra, who's been hanging out with us here. And we still have a couple of guests in the queue that we are anticipating here this morning. It is we are anticipating Kalen Carr at some point, anticipating Dax McCarty at some point. Perhaps if Jess Charman can put her notes down and stop studying for 10 minutes, we can have Jess come in. Kacey, once again, has said that if she lands at LaGuardia by the time the show is wrapping up, she'll come back in to let us know that she's landed. And we're also keeping an eye, hopefully, with that Danny Higginbotham can join us as well. And we can talk about fantasy football and commiserate over that, because I know that he was looking for a receiver last time out. And I have something that I need to discuss with Danny when it comes to fantasy football and all of those elements that are attached to it. So that has been the first hour and 10 minutes of the show here on Decision Day, with the Decision Day Chaos program that has been plotted and planned. So let's get into the juice boxes for all of the matchups that we know. And of course, the second I start to do this, then it means that obviously, someone else is going to dial in and we'll see what's going on. But getting into juice boxes will get you through the matchups, and we'll go through everything that's all laid out in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Atlanta United favored at home against DC United at a -122, draws a +301, DC United a +279. Brad Gazan is going to start. Crew and Red Bulls, -182 for Crew. Red Bulls are a +447, and the draw is a +326. Cincinnati Montreal, also a -182 for Cincinnati, draws a +355. See if Montreal's got better odds to win on the road at a +395. In that particular matchup. And so now we go quickly. He is not in his Hyundai Santa Fe. He is not. And so we go to Dax McCarty, and we get to catch up with Dax really quick, because I know that you are entertaining the masses, and I know that we have to kind of do this on the hop. Thanks for doing this and stepping away from the madness in the house to talk to us a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, apologize. I got a bunch going on this morning, but you know what? I'm here in my little studio / bedroom for my 3-year-old right here. And always can make time for a great pod.
Okay, so you are ready and rocking to go. And so this is kind of the collisions that we've had here at points with not knowing who's coming in and whatever. I'm going to treat this first question kind of like Monty Python on the Holy Grail. You get to the bridge, and you have to answer the 3 questions. I'm going to go straight to the third question. Not what is your name, what is your quest. The third question is what is the average velocity of a yellow-laden swallow? That version is the Brad Gazan question. Give me your Brad Gazan moment that folks should remember him by the most in his time in Major League Soccer.
Easy answer would be leading Atlanta United to their first ever MLS Cup title, which was, I think, a seminal moment for Atlanta United, for soccer in the South, for Brad Guzan in his illustrious career. Atlanta United during 2018 basically rewrote what it meant to be an expansion team, to come in and essentially have amazing success right out of the gate. As I hope everyone can also see, we're welcoming in, if not the top analyst on MLS Season Pass, certainly one of the top analysts on Season Pass. And by the way, for people that don't watch our MLS Countdown segments, we throw it to this guy all the time, and he is easily one of the best dressed nowadays. I've heard he's gone through a little bit of a career renaissance with his dressing, but I digress. Danny Higginbotham. Brad Guzan, the moment that will stick out forever for me, other than his MLS Cup win, is the series that he played last year against Inter Miami. And it's not just amazing saves. We can talk about his performance. It's Netgate, how he ended up in the net after Inter Miami scored a goal, the anger with which he could not get out of the net, and the anger with which he addressed Suarez, who was in his face. And I got to be honest, Suarez has a screw loose. He wanted no part of Brad Guzan angry. Okay, Brad is a lovable teddy bear, but when you get him going, he's one of the most fearsome individuals that you can come face to face with. I know from personal experience in training, I could get under his skin a lot. But that moment for me will stick out in certainly MLS lore, but Atlanta United lore forever.
Danny, I know that Dax only has a couple of minutes, so I'm going to keep you after that because I know we have to talk fantasy football, and that's a big topic for both of us right now. Since
whoa! We're talking fantasy football.
Yeah.
Okay, I can give you another couple minutes if we're
sure.
talking.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Danny, when it comes to Brad, what sticks in your mind with Brad Guzan? Whether it is the competitor, the career, Major League Soccer, choice D, all the above. When I mention Brad Guzan to you, what sticks in your mind?
What Dax just mentioned then, because we covered that game, and when he fell back into the net, it was just like it felt like it was sold as like a comedy moment. He just couldn't get out. But obviously, I know of him from when he played in England when he was at Aston Villa, and he just seems to be a goalkeeper. I think everybody was questioning for a while. Last year, I thought he was outstanding. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And then you speak to the people now at Atlanta, because we covered Atlanta last weekend against Miami. And obviously, they've got the young lad in net now. I think it's Hibbert. And everybody said that it's just been unbelievable for him. It's sort of been a mentor for him and everything like that. And when you hear things like that, it's always, it's great to hear those things, because nobody likes to be replaced, especially by a younger player. So when things like that happen, it speaks volumes about the individual. But just going back to goalkeepers in general, they're all off their heads. Every single one of them. They are the easiest people on a football field to wind up. I don't know whether you used to do it, Dax, but like whatever team you're at, the goalkeepers would have their own routines. So the goalkeeping coach would be with them. They'd be warming up, and we'd be running past them, and we'd just start belting balls at them. And they would want to fight you. They would literally want to fight you, and they're just the easiest people to wind up on the planet as well.
On that point, never underestimate the ability to get under a goalkeeper's skin. When you're doing a shooting exercise, you get all the shooters together and say, hey, everyone on this next round, just try to chip the keeper. That's all you got to do. Just try to chip the keeper. And after about the third one, they start to catch on. And if they catch one, that ball is being punted into the forest. Okay. Brad Guzan, we've seen it before. He's punted the ball into the forest and hasn't been happy with the banter taking place. Cause when they get a little bit older, I think the less reps in training they can do, the better. And when you're wasting their time trying to chip them all the time, it is the perfect way to get under their skin. But listen, there's not much more to say about Brad that hasn't already been said. If you watched his press conference yesterday and saw how emotional he got talking about kids and family, I teared up because I know what his family means to him. I know what my family means to me. I'm sure Danny can say the same. It's just your family's there on the whole journey, throughout the whole journey. And Brad's family's been with him every step of the way. And you heard him. They want him to keep playing because of how much it means to them. So really special moment for him. And I'm really glad that Atlanta United, it was a no-brainer, but I'm really glad that they are making this final game essentially all about Brad, because in a season that's essentially a lost season, you can cover all the negatives, and we have plenty of times. The one positive you can take away from it is that now you essentially get a day where there's nothing on the line and you just celebrate an absolute legend of Atlanta United, and it's just about him. So that's the only silver lining I see for Decision Day in Atlanta United.
What other stories, Dax, are you looking forward to the most? Because Danny's got Charlotte and Montreal in the East. There's some attachment there. There's chaos in the East when it comes to placement. There's chaos in the West when it comes to the top four. Seattle's kind of just hanging out and looking at everybody and then getting in and staying in. What are you looking for the most on Decision Day?
There's three, I think, main storylines to look out for with regard to playoff seeding. Well, the first one and the most important one is who gets in the West. 4 teams can either be in or out in the play-in game. So that for me is a fascinating story. Vancouver FC Dallas is easily the most compelling game because you have the Vancouver Whitecaps. I feel like the darling of MLS right now, and the heroic kind of underdog who's just been great all season long, hosting FC Dallas, who's been in great form under Eric Quill. FC Dallas missing their 2 best attackers. Can Eric Quill fashion a miracle and get FC Dallas into the playoffs, going to the belly of the beast? And Vancouver going for something they've never gone for before, winning the West in the regular season. In the East, you have that fight for the 4th seed in the East, and it's so crucial. Danny, which game do you have?
Charlotte, Philadelphia.
So Danny's got a huge game. So Charlotte, if you look at Charlotte, Philly, you have NYCFC, Seattle, and you have Nashville, Miami. Any of those 3 teams, Nashville, NYC, and Charlotte, can get in that top 4 seed, and all 3 of those teams need it. They all have double the amount of wins at home than they do on the road. So don't underestimate where things are going to chop and change on decision day for that seeding. And the other one I'm looking at is LAFC. And can Denny Bwanga put pressure on Lionel Messi for the Golden Boot? I don't know if you've seen Son Heung-min and the bromance going on with him and Bwanga. I have a prediction that Son is essentially going to pass up any break he gets to try to get Bwanga that Golden Boot. So a lot of really compelling storylines to follow on decision day.
Okay. Danny, you want to go ahead and we'll talk fantasy football so Dax can go?
Dax wants to be part of it, don't you, Vid?
I want to be a part of it. I just had Jamar Chase go off for me last night.
Oh,
absolutely buzzing.
He was incredible, wasn't he?
No Flacco. Hey, the old guys can still do it, Danny. Huh?
He's been there for 10 days as well, and he's just got the instant relationship.
Yeah.
So I was all right. I had Chase Brown last night, so he's the running back. He got me a few yards, and I need some others to step up because that. So what happened when I moved over here? I've done fantasy now this is my 4th year. My first year, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
I won it all. I won it all.
Auto draft. You probably auto drafted.
No, I didn't. That's what everyone was saying, but I didn't. And then I was giving it the big one to everybody every single week. And then last 2 years, not even made the playoffs.
Well, that's fantasy football for you. And before I hop off, I want to give you a couple nuggets. First thing is, we have a Red Bull fantasy football league with all of our old crew from around the 2013 to 2017 time era. And we're all still in it. We haven't lost anyone. It's an absolutely great way to stay in touch with all your buddies. Another Englishman, Lloyd Sam, is absolutely addicted to fantasy football. He's good. He's so invested. His team this year, not good. I need to put you in touch with him. You guys can kind of commiserate over that. And the other thing is, to tie this back into Major League Soccer, if you've watched Countdown a little bit, you'll see an interview, a couple interviews we've done with Son about how LAFC has invited him into their fantasy football league and how he's just dove headfirst into American culture, the locker room. You see the relationship he has with all these guys. We had Aaron Long on Countdown talking to him and going back and forth. Son, it seems like he's best friends with everyone in the locker room already. I really enjoy DPs that deliver on the field, but also really go out of their way to invest in American culture. And that's what Son is doing. He speaks great English, but I've played with some players who have been in the U.S. for 2 or 3 years, and they still don't speak English, right? And so, look, that's not throwing shots at anyone. I'm just saying in general, the guys who really invest in the team, in the culture, in what MLS is, I feel like they have success almost right away. And Son is a top player, but him joining a fantasy football league and having no idea what's going on, that's getting out of your comfort zone. I absolutely love that from him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dax, we're going to...
Thank you, guys. John, you're a legend.
Safe travels, Dax.
I'm sure we will be talking to you on Countdown tomorrow, my friend.
Definitely. Right. Safe travels.
I hope you're bringing the heat with whatever outfit you got on.
Oh, I'm going to try. I'll try.
You guys.
All right, there goes Dax McCarty. So, Danny, all right, I have a fantasy football conundrum for you. My team sucks. No doubt.
Okay, so we're near enough in the same boat then. I'm doing okay.
Yeah. So, and much like what happened with you, I won the league 3 years ago, and ever since I've just been awful. And we have an option in our league, and yes, we are going to talk about Charlotte and Philly in a sec. We do have an option in our league where you win a game, you get a win, but if you also score over the league median, you get another win or another loss. So you could be 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 in any given week. Mm-hmm. And right now, out of the blocks, I had 4 games in a row where I had a player injured in game.
Yeah.
And I'm 2-10 right now after the first 6 weeks. I literally had some of the folks at the top of the ladder coming after me, and I had one of the guys tell me in a DM to do this deal. He says, "You're not competing." That's literally how he started it.
So he wants your best player.
Yeah.
Wow. No,
Yes,
don't do it.
Well,
do not do it.
And so he goes, "You're not competing, and you need help for next year." And so it was a deal for like his number 1 draft pick, and that would give me 2 1s in next year and everything. And I've never been so fired up when somebody in my league tells me that I'm not competing. I'm tempted next season to change my team name to "You're Not Competing," and he spelled it YOUR.
Oh.
You're not competing. And so I'm literally that mad at this guy right now, to where I've got 2 number 1s next year. I'm trading some picks, and I'm trading Cortland Sutton away. I got J.K. Dobbins back in return, but I'm so mad at this guy that I want to bury him.
I've got an idea for you.
Yeah.
The guy that wants him off you, is he competing at the top?
I believe so.
Do you know who his competitor is?
Oh, I've got to look at the ladder. Yeah.
Look who the competitor is, and have a guess what you do.
Okay.
You offer him the guy that he wanted.
Yeah, there you go.
That mixes things right up.
Yes. So that I wanted to just run that by you, to have somebody. I've never had somebody run that kind of smack by me in a second.
Oh yeah.
So all right. So I'm going to bring in one of your tag team partners. I'm going to ask you about Charlotte and Montreal, but Charlotte and Philly. But I am going to bring in a tag team partner of yours at the same time, and that's kind of the chaos that I wanted here today. I might recognize this person.
Hey Jess, how are you?
I'm doing well, Danny. How about yourself?
Good. I'm flying soon, so I've had to have an early run, so I'm good to go. Get myself sorted soon, and then be on my way.
Yep. So
it's good to see you.
Danny, let me ask you, so you can get everything in about Charlotte and Philly. Are you anticipating first choice from Philly in this one, just to keep the rhythm of the lineup going, because it means more to Charlotte than it does to Philly?
I would imagine so, because there's been an international break. So I think if you make a lot of changes from the Philadelphia Union team that won Supporters Shield, then you're going into the playoffs with players potentially not have played for 3 weeks. And I don't think you can do that. I think you have to keep the competitive side of things. And it's really important now. I think for a lot of coaches, it's like it's almost as important as the result, making sure that the players have the right amount of time in their legs, making sure that players that maybe need a break. But I think to go, and completely change it, I just don't see many managers doing that, because we've seen what happens, with what used to happen in MLS, where a team that came first or won the Support Shield, they get like their sort of prize was a 2 or 3 week break, and it didn't help them. So I would expect to see a strong team, maybe a little bit different if they had played last weekend, but because they haven't, I think it's important that obviously they play a full team. And obviously, like you just said, Charlotte, I think the onus is on them. We know how much home field advantage means to them, and it will be a really good atmosphere, and I think it'd be a great game as well.
All right, so it's you and the Kanji man with Charlotte and Philly. As always, it's great to talk fantasy football with you, talk about being subversive and making sure that my enemy shall be mine, and we vanquish him in short order. We're going to do this again, Danny, the Friday before MLS Cup.
Okay.
And so that's when we'll do the senior yearbook. We'll open up the yearbook, and you can write the note to the dopey kid in the middle. Thanks for being such a great student in 2025. Signed, the librarian. We'll do that coming up. It's great to see you, my friend. Do not be a stranger any point in between, off season, in season. It's all good. Great to see you, and thank you for the advice in fantasy football.
No problem. Take care. Have a good one, Jess, as well. See you soon.
Safe travels, Danny. I'm going to do the hypnosis. I'm telling you, I've got it.
Go for it.
Yes, we're doing it. It's going to work. Have a good one,
Definitely.
man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, there goes Danny Higginbotham. Now here's Jess. And so, hey, it's been
I've got to give context to the hypnosis thing first and foremost. So,
yes, you do.
I'm scared of flying, ironically, in this business where I have probably flown 65 times 65 round trips this year. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Danny used to be scared of flying. We obviously were paired up for Club World Cup, so we were flying all the time together. I was like, you don't seem like you're scared of flying. He's like, no, I got hypnosis, and now he's fixed. So I think it's something I might be investing in. It's a little scary, like, I don't know, like the word hypnosis, but I don't think it's like hypnosis, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a try, because I still don't enjoy flying, which is ridiculous in this business.
Well, I mean, for me, legitimately, I can't sleep in the daylight. I literally can't. If the sun is up, I can't sleep at all. Doesn't matter if I pull.
Yeah, I'm similar. Like everyone's always like, "Why don't you take a nap? You must be tired." I'm like, I can't nap. The sun is out. I should be working. You know.
And I can't do it. And so, literally, the only place in daylight I can sleep is on a plane.
So planes are good for you.
Yeah, and in daylight hours, especially because if you're doing like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, you're packing everything, slamming it all together, and trying to get things done. I can sleep, but I guess it's the hum of the engine.
Yeah, I've heard that. Everyone's always like, and apparently, like the turbulence rocks people to sleep. I'm like, no, the turbulence rocks me into pissing myself with nerves. So
yeah, no.
Did I just get it explicit for that word?
That's a Friday. Who cares?
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's the same. I literally can go out in the daylight in the plane, and so my guess is with the hypnosis, they'll probably give you like a keyword to focus on. So if that word, if it's a trigger at times, because there have been athletes who've used hypnosis or sports psychologists, and the sports psychologist will give them a trigger word.
I should call it that instead of hypnosis. I should say I'm getting sports psychologist.
And there was a kicker in American football, and he was having problems with field goals, and so he went to a sports psychologist. And the kicker is an avid golfer, and so the sports psychologist gave him the keyword birdie. And so,
yeah. Even I know what a birdie is.
Yeah. So think birdie, and that kind of triggers your successful thought pattern into
I
kicking.
like that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So it might be like my safe word is Cadbury's, and when I think of Cadbury's, everything is okay.
Yeah. So that's something like that. So that's my guess. Kacey started the show, and she was literally in the Raleigh airport.
Yeah, really impressive as always.
And so she has already said that if she lands at LaGuardia in time for the show, before the show goes off the air, she'll come back.
She's not, though, because she's delayed. She already told me that.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. How fast the flight from, I guess, Raleigh to New York is quicker than Atlanta to New York?
Well, let's see. So if she's flying a particular airline, and so we'll figure this out. And yes, we're going to talk about your matchup with NYC coming up in a bit. So if we go, no, I don't want to search there. So from RDU origin.
Yeah, this is her. She's landing at 11:43 a.m.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, 9:53 she took off.
So it's an hour and 50-minute flight.
Yeah, so similar to mine. I don't take off till 5 p.m. though. I like to do a lot of prep work here. The sightseeing and stuff is cool. I'm excited to see around, but this first year, I feel like next year I'll be able to relax more and kind of go and enjoy each city that I'm in. But play-by-play is so different to analyst work. And it's not that I don't respect analyst work. Obviously, as someone that made my beginnings as an analyst, I know how difficult it is. It's just a different amount of prep, a different amount of storylines, particularly on this being my first ever decision day as a play-by-play. It's a lot to take in. I mean, I need to know the storylines that matter in other games. I need to know the results that matter in other games. And then I'm also in this unique boat of having the only East-West game, which means that all my storylines for Seattle aren't really relevant until 9 p.m., but I've still got to foreshadow them and potential them. So I'm not overwhelmed. I'm excited. I have prepped really well. If you want to look at this beautiful, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. And then I'll get all my sticky notes of my players and put it in. But it's just all the different circumstances. And then also situationally records of the team. So if NYC finish fourth and they play against Charlotte, knowing that Charlotte split 2-0 games in both their games is important for when we set up the bracket, little things like that just make you more knowledgeable. So yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled. It's been a wild year, as you know. So I'm excited that I even have a decision day.
So outside of players to watch and your 37 promo reads that happen in
I think it's 36 at this point. We lost one. We lost one.
Well, but we
lost the easiest one. We lost it. We lost added time. And added time, I mean, that one's difficult to get wrong.
Well, but since Apple TV apparently has gained the Formula One contract for 2026 and beyond, that one might be in.
Well, the hardest thing for me is I'm not afraid to admit it. Everyone knows me. I'm a soccer girl. I'm not an all sports gal.
Yeah.
When we get baseball promos, I have to look up pronunciations of and everyone will be like, that's a really well-known player. I don't know. It would be like, do you know this player from the women's championship? No, you don't. So stop. But yeah, I have to look up pronunciations of baseball players that are really important in
No,
games before I read.
I'm right there with you. No, I am only a baseball person as far as my Los Angeles Angels can carry me, and since we are awful, they don't carry me very far.
No, you did just a little way, huh?
Yeah, in your research for NYC and Seattle, there's always the players to watch.
Yeah.
Outside of the players to watch, who are you watching for levels of success? I mean, like the second, like the B level,
Second tier.
the second tier. Who are those foot
I
soldiers?
feel disrespectful calling him second tier, but for New York City, I just think Justin Hack is so interesting. I really love his development this year, his flexibility, his ability to play in the defense and the midfield. And I just think that, number one, he's a commentator's dream, because unless he cuts his hair, you're never going to get him wrong. So shout out to people that have distinctive haircuts, distinctive beards, distinctive way of wearing shorts and shin guards, all of these things that are bonuses for us, particularly having doing this game at Citi Field is going to be interesting.
Yes.
I think I'm going to be watching off the monitor for the most part and just soaking in the atmosphere. It's fine. It's really cool. I'm going to be in New York. But yeah, I think Justin Hack's story is remarkable. And then this one might be, he probably is really an obvious selection, but Nico Fernandez-Marcao is such a interesting, we just call him Nico on the broadcast, so I might have butchered.
Yes.
No, it is Fernandez-Marcao, right? I think it is. I'm like, yes, because he has to either be Fernandez-Marcao. You have to say both because there's Julian Fernandez. Don't get them confused. So what he's done for this team and his creativity, his like showmanship on the ball, I love. And then the secondary tier for New York City that I think is interesting is their ability off of the bench. I think that Pascal Jansen's done a really good job of keeping players motivated coming off of the bench to have an impact. The likes of, the likes of Julian Fernandez, they've done a really good job of getting players to have an impact off of the bench. For Seattle, I think the big storyline, you kind of brought it up with Danny with Philadelphia, is they're locked into fifth. They did play in the international break against RSL. I did that game, but they had 11 players unavailable for selection. So it's like Brian Schmetzer is going to have to tread this thin line of, do I want to rest these international players, some of which have had a lot of travel, a lot of minutes, but then they're not going to play in a Major League Soccer game with Seattle for the international window for this game, and then they're going to go into playoffs? Or do I want to try and risk big players in this game? I look at the likes of Ober Vargas, obviously, who has made, headlines with his work with the Mexico U20s, his headlines with the U22, number one ranked player in Major League Soccer this season. Mm-hmm. But he must be fatigued to a level. Does it help that he's a young'un? Yeah, it's a lot easier in your 20s than it is in your 30s. Sadly, I know that now, unfortunately. But I think that's going to be interesting. The selection of players. Does Roldan come in after 2 assists with the U.S. men's national team, despite the slander on social media? I think that's going to be a really interesting storyline for Seattle, plus the cross-country travel, which they may have traveled for the international break, and then they've got to go to Seattle, practice, and then fly all the way to New York. I think Brian Schmetzer would have wished they had played anybody other than an Eastern Conference match on decision day, if I'm completely honest. But I think it's going to be a really good game. Both teams looking to build momentum. These sides haven't faced each other in Major League Soccer since 2019. The last time they played each other was in the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals, where Sounders beat them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to have an eye obviously on Charlotte and Nashville, because their games mean a lot for the home field advantage. Pascal Jansen kept his cards to his chest. But when you look at New York City, that home field advantage, obviously they went on the road and upset Cincinnati last season, but it's going to be really important.
Is Brian Schmetzer underappreciated as a head coach?
I think anyone that can last at a club as long as he did is unappreciated, because we talk about players and how difficult it is to get testimonials these days with like 10 years at a club, let alone as a manager, 10 years with a team, and I think when you look at the numbers, the fact that they've only failed to qualify for playoffs one time, it's incredible. And the fact that really impressed me with Seattle, and obviously my Eastern Coast biases, I'm not afraid to admit it, like in terms of knowledge base, not in terms of how much enjoyment, but with Charlotte, it was rare to have Western Coast Conference opponents. With Apple TV, I've only done 2 or 3 Remys for West Coast, because obviously the travel from Atlanta to West Coast doesn't make sense. You may as well keep me on the East Coast as much as possible. Completely get it. And also with this fear of flying, I don't really fancy flying over too often to the West Coast. I will have to do a West Coast travel for Sirius. I'm going to San Jose for the NWSL Championship again. So that's going to be amazing. Yep, drop that nugget in right there. But yeah, I think he has to be unappreciated for the level. But what impressed me, there we go, that was my train of thought, was that Seattle can be missing 11 players and still execute a game plan, still execute a style of play, be missing key components in terms of top scorers, in terms of key distributors, and still have a game plan and look convincing. That to me suggests everybody's bought in. And when you have a coach with you for that long, there's a level of consistency that you very, very rarely find in the modern game.
And it also speaks to the system from the bottom up through academy and Tacoma Science and
well, that's it. When you look at the players on this team and how many of them are homegrowns or how many of them have been through the academy, against RSL, like 3 players had to be called up from their MLS Next Pro team because they didn't have enough players to field a bench, and one made a debut, one made his second appearance. It's a lot of teams can learn a lot from Seattle about their ability to cultivate players. I also think it helps that Seattle is a hotbed for talent. You know, there is a lot of players over in that region that really value the game.
One more, and then I'll let you get back to studying. That's the GK Union question.
Oh, Brad.
Yep, Brad. I know.
I cried last night. Like they did me dirty with that dad social media video. Like luckily I just cleansed this morning from it because I saw the video of the Brad Guzan impersonators with the bald caps. Yep. Feel a lot better about it now.
When I mention Brad as a keeper, as a part of GK Union, what sticks in your mind about the competitor that he is?
I think the ability to kind of write his own path in terms of his career, obviously playing overseas with Aston Villa and making a reputation there. There's not many people that are able to play in multiple leagues and be represented as a legend. There's not many Americans that can crack England due to biases. Let's be completely honest here. So I think witnessing the way that he played, I look back at some of the saves that he made, and I just think an extraordinary goalkeeper that was able to adjust to the modern game really well. He's one of those unique goalkeepers, and I think we're coming to the end now of that era that had to straddle the old school goalkeeper and this modern goalkeeper, right? Because, and this isn't rude to his age, but Brad is of the generation where they probably started, like I did, with your main goal being able to save balls. Like that's what we started. The focus was on being able to be brave, being able to be athletic, being able to make saves. And then there was this big change in the middle of his career where all of a sudden now goalkeepers have to be a field player just as well. And I think I really admire Brad as someone that had to struggle with that transition myself in the modern game and coming over and being expected to be able to ping a ball 40 yards, being able to play under pressure through your feet, that he was able to really adjust that. And I watched some of the balls that Brad Guzan's able to ping, and I just think, wow, you really were an early day modern goalkeeper. So I have a lot of respect for that as a character. And then obviously, I love bald American goalkeepers as someone that grew up watching Marcus Hanneman. So we love it. He's the last of that era. You know, I saw a post about the famous bald American goalkeepers, and unfortunately, you know, I think he has a bright future in whatever he does, because listening to him speak, the way that he can inspire others, the way that others look up to him, it is really exciting. And I'm excited to see what Brad does in his future. But I'm grateful to have, you know, got to watch him play firsthand as a really good modern goalkeeper, despite coming up in a different era.
The Wonder Twins, Jess and Kacey D, are calling NYC in Seattle at Citi Field. 6:12 start, I believe, is when they're going to blow.
Correct. A slightly longer open to deal with, but that's fine. I love a good open and a scene set.
Yeah, plus 110 for NYC. The draw is plus 260, and Seattle is a plus 218.
Well, I want to know, do you think Charlotte beats Philadelphia, though?
No,
I don't. I think NYC finishes 4th. I do. Yeah. I think things go in their favor. They finish 4th, and and it's a party at Citi Field tomorrow night. So looking forward to it, everybody. And
do not be a stranger, obviously, with everything going on here postseason, NWSL Championship. We know we've got to get to you to talk about the playoffs like we do with KCD. Look, you know you can crash at any time. You just text me and say, hey, what's going on?
Exactly. You know, and you keep on my back, and I'll eventually show up. All
Well,
right. Take care. Thanks,
care.
everybody. Have a good one.
There goes Jess. Jess is an OG, and she does the slam out. So that's where we are. Okay. We're trying to see. We're efforting Kalen Carr. We'll see if Kalen can make it here in the final 20 minutes. We might go a little long because of the news that we have to talk about here. So let's recap what we've done in the show this morning. So it was Kacey D in the Raleigh airport. Like I said, we don't know. The flight is supposed to take an hour and 36 minutes if she took Delta going from Raleigh to LaGuardia. So obviously, we'll see if she makes it by the end of the show, even if she just lands and gets into the concourse. And it's a good coda to what we've been able to do this morning. So Kacey D joined us batting leadoff. Then she's paired with Jess. They're doing NYC and that matchup at Citi Field with Seattle. Then Bart joined us to talk about the new episode of the Soccer for US POD, episode 129, to talk about the friendlies that just happened in the past window. Then Tyler Terens joined us. Mark Followill joined us. Mark Followill had to go because he's got things to do like travel and basketball and such. 10 o'clock, it was Kyndra de St. Aubin. Then it was Dax McCarty. Then it was Danny Higginbotham. Then it was Jessica Charman. And like I said, we've sent texts out to some other folks to see if they can join here in the last little bit. So I'm hoping, that today was as chaotic and as informational as we wanted it to be. And like I said, we're going to do this again the Friday before MLS Cup. We're going to do it again, but I wanted to have Decision Day be its own animal, considering everything that it means for all of the folks at Apple TV, all the crews that are going to be doing it, and it's the last day of the regular season. So we wanted to kind of put a special bow on everything, and I thank you for your indulgence and putting up with all the chaos and bouncing around all over the place as we did this morning. Okay, juice boxes. Let's get back into that, and here we go. So once again, Atlanta has changed. They're now a favorite at a minus 120. That's gone up. Charlotte and Philly. Charlotte's a plus 145. Draws a plus 269. Philly is a plus 156 on the road. Philly is the dog here. It's a slight dog. I think that Philly ends up getting the win there. Crew and Red Bulls. Crew and FC Cincinnati are still both minus 182 favorites. Crew over Red Bulls, who are a plus 447. That has even gone up since we've been talking. CF Montreal has gone down closer to FC Cincinnati, but still hovering around a plus 400. Nashville and Messi and Friends. Nashville is a plus 129. Draws a plus 286. Messi and Friends in Nashville are a plus 170. To me, that is stunning to have that number and that wide of a gulf. Revs and Fire. Revs are a plus 181 at home. They are an underdog. Draws a plus 282. Chicago Fire is a plus 122. We mentioned the numbers for NYC and Seattle. NYC a plus 110. Draws a plus 261. Seattle is a plus 219. Toronto and the purple team, that's your last 6-12 kick. Toronto is a plus 237. Draws a plus 273. Purple team is an even money plus 100. I think they stumble there. That's just me. 9-12 kicks. Rapids and LAFC with our friend Mark Followill at a plus 227. LAFC's is a plus 100 even money. Draws a plus 288. LAG and Minnesota United. The Juice Boxers put a blanket over that whole thing. LAG's a slight favorite at a plus 152. Draws a plus 265. Minnesota United is a plus 154. So Minnesota United, slight underdog by the slightest of margins, going to LA for the late kick. Also at 9-12, Portland and San Diego. Portland is a slight underdog, and it is within the margin of error. Portland's a plus 152. San Diego's a plus 150. Slight favorite, slightest margin. Draws a plus 272. Kyndra and Tyler are calling San Jose and Austin. San Jose favored at home, a minus 119. Draws a plus 294. Austin is a plus 271. Sporting and Houston. Sporting slightly favored at home at Children's Mercy at a plus 150. Houston is a plus 154. Draws a plus 270. All Caps and RSL. All Caps are a plus 137. Favored at home against RSL. Draws a plus 284. RSL is a plus 161. In your late game, Vancouver and Dallas. Vancouver, big favorite at home. Dallas without two pieces of firepower, including Logan Farrington. Vancouver a minus 208. FC Dallas and Eric Quilla plus 463. And the draw is a plus 368. So those are your juice boxes for those games here on Decision Day in Major League Soccer. So let me see if we have the call combinations and who's going to be doing what and who's going to be doing what where. So it does not appear that it's there. So we'll go here to this one, and we'll see if we can dial up what the numbers are and who are calling. No, they don't have it there either. Okay, so we don't know who the call combos are other than the matchups that we've had folks in with Mark Followill, Warren Barton doing Colorado and LAFC, Tyler and Kyndra there in San Jose. It is Jess and Kacey, the Wonder Twins at Citi Field doing NYC in Seattle. And follow along at MLS On Air on the 280-character app and at MLS Communications to find out who's doing what where and what the lineups are when it comes to your broadcast teams. So who is doing what? Who's got the whistle? Who's got the flags? Let's find out. And how it all lays out when it comes to everything in Major League Soccer, assuming that they have been posted. Okay, so Major League Soccer assignments for match day 40, they have been posted. So here we go. Atlanta United and DC United. Joshua Encarnacion is the man in the middle. Nick Uranga, Adam Garner, your AR is Ismail Elfath is the fourth. Drew Fisher is your VAR. Jeff Mushik is with him upstairs. So who scored with the ref stats and get into the referee statistics in general? So if we go to who scored and we break it all down that way. So we go to, oh crap. So who scored? Fine, whatever. All right. So let me go to who scored and we will get the ref stats for Joshua Encarnacion and we'll see what's going on with him. But we'll get into that in a bit. Oh, wow. Check this out. This is going to be fun. What's up, dude? We gotta go. Oh, sorry, no. I'm practicing my best Kevin Egan. Kevin Egan dropping by here on Decision Day. Glad that we could pin down one of the busiest men in show business to come and hang out with us to break everything down here, man.
John, I'm sorry I'm late. How are we doing, guys? Busy weekend ahead, and I'm emotional that Goose is tying it all up now. Final time sticking on the gloves. I'm emotional for that one.
So when I mentioned Brad Guzan, what sticks in your brain about either the competitor or moments or both?
So people probably don't know this, but Brad Guzan, when I was 24, I was living with a few guys in Chicago, and one of them happened to be a great friend of Brad's from when he was in school in like Homer Glen, Illinois. And then my second cousin, who's out in LA, he's doing great things in the movie world. He ended up being in middle school with Brad. So he said to me, "Oh, by the way, you're a Villa fan. There's this kid that I went to school with called Brad Guzan, who's just gone to Aston Villa, your team." So I ended up connecting with Brad on Facebook way, way, way back in the day. And he was just an absolute gem, as I was probably nearly a bit of a fanboy, you know, because I was a Villa fan and I'm a kid living in Chicago and this Chicago guy's gone on to play for Villa. Then fast forward like over a decade later, I'm working with Atlanta United. He's playing for Atlanta United. You get to know him a bit better. And now I call Brad a friend, and I'm just so happy for him that he's going to get the honor and the adulation and everything that comes with tomorrow at the Benz. I think it's going to be a special occasion.
Are folks outside of, say, Atlanta and Chicago, when it comes to his place in U.S. national team history and the history of U.S. goalkeepers, is he still underappreciated in some circles, you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He's been to 2 World Cups. He's probably, he's probably unlucky in a lot of ways. If you think about his time at Aston Villa even, he found himself at times back up to Brad Friedel and back up to Shea Given. There were 2 legendary goalkeepers. At the U.S. men's national team, Tim Howard came along, and I thought for the longest time at the very end that Brad was going to take over and Tim stayed on for a long period of time. But Brad has still played, an incredible amount of games for the national team. Like I said, 2 World Cups, a decade of experience over in the Premier League. What an amazing journey for a big lad that started out as a central midfielder.
And here's a guy who came back from a ruptured Achilles at the age of 38.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
such a great point you make, because so many would have just called it, but that's not Brad. And he could go again. Like he's looking so lean and fit and sharp, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what's next for Brad.
Eastern Conference, Western Conference, the matches mean things for different reasons. Let me see if I can recall quickly who we've had on this morning. Kacey White, she batted leadoff from the Raleigh airport. We had Tyler Terens come in, and his lower third font was John Texter's Venmo, and that set me off. We had Followill on this morning. We've had Kyndra on this morning. We had Danny Higginbotham on this morning. We've got Jessica Charman on this morning, and now we have you on this morning. That was
Did you forget Dax McCarty?
Oh, Dax McCarty. Yeah, he came in. That's true.
Did you really forget Dax McCarty?
Yeah, well, Dax came. Well, Dax was. Yeah, it was a complete and total squish that Dax came in. He was hiding in his 3-year-old's room in the makeshift studio. So yes, Dax has been a part of it too this morning. So having all of these different voices, I wanted to have all the different voices and all the chaos that's attached to it. What are you going to be looking at specifically in the Western Conference? Is chaos at the top and the bottom. Seattle's just kind of hanging out saying hi. And in the Eastern Conference, it's for placement. So there's different kinds of chaos that you're going to be having to pay attention to up there on the weekend.
I think from the Eastern Conference standpoint, you the desperate push to get inside the top 4 is huge right now. And I'm looking at, for example, Charlotte, a big game for them at home against the Philadelphia side that have already clinched the Shield. Further down the line, keep an eye on Chicago. Chicago have to go to New England, the side already eliminated. Yeah. Chicago could jump out of that play-in game potentially and find themselves already in round 1, the best of 3. And for Chicago, it would be a 10th road win, I believe, of the season, which is already club record for them. What they've done on their travels this season has been nothing short of remarkable. Same could be said of San Diego, who could go after an all-time MLS record of 12 road wins as an expansion team as well. It just makes it even more astonishing. So I'm keeping an eye on Chicago, New England. I think that's a fascinating game. And then there's certain teams just backing in. John, we know how costly that can be when you back in. You saw it with the momentum of Atlanta United last year when you hit a little bit of form and you go to Montreal, get it done in the play-in game. And the next thing, there's an invincibility about the team that is nearly priceless. So that's the East. Out West, I actually believe that come tomorrow night late, Bruce Arena and the San Jose Earthquakes are going to be celebrating at PayPal Park because they find themselves further down the pecking line. But when you look at the games, they're not easy. For Colorado, they've got to welcome in LAFC. And you know that no matter what Lionel Messi does, Son Heung-min is going to be teeing up Denny Bouanga for as many goals as he can possibly score to try and catch the GOAT in the Golden Boot conversation. I think it's a really tough one for Dallas. They've slipped up of late, and now they've got Farrington and Musa both suspended for tomorrow night. And then, which is the game? Remind me again off the top of my head here. You've got St. Louis welcoming in RSL, I believe.
Yep.
And that is ridiculously tough for RSL against the St. Louis side that are, yes, they concede goals. They're porous defensively under David Critchley, but they're creating a lot of chances. Marcel Hartel's a player we'd be talking about an awful lot more if he was starring for a Cincinnati or Philadelphia or an LAFC right now. He's been balling. So I just think with Austin locked in where they are right now and a real focus on the postseason, I think this is a massive chance for San Jose to win their game, sneak in, and potentially get to the 8th spot. And that would mean hosting a playoff game for the very first time in the history of PayPal Park.
You've got the Loons going to LAG, and that one could kind of sneak up on you as a top 4 as well. I mean, right now, the Juice Boxers, they kind of thrown a blanket over the whole thing. They're like, yeah, either side can win, and we got the same number there. That could be one that you stumble on and you kind of trip over yourself a little bit. But, yeah, to your point about Eastern Conference and walking back in, the purple team is going to Toronto. And in years past, we've seen them under Oscar Pareja. It's almost like in the Premier League, you get to 40 points, and then you're just kind of like, we're going to stay on the Premier League, and then you kind of do the slow fade. It didn't used to be that way last couple of seasons, but now we kind of reverted to this idea of, okay, we're good, and then you get the slow fade from Orlando. I'm afraid that might be happening again to them this year at the worst possible time.
I know. But all it takes is one game to turn it around. And they're up against the Toronto side that have been drawing games for fun. I mean, Mihailovic hasn't been winning, but he hasn't been losing either since he joined the club. They're turning things around, I think, under Robin Fraser, and they're getting a tune out of some of the younger guys coming through. That's not an easy game. I actually believe that sometimes when you, as a club, allow these guys to leave mid-season in the summer window, and this is why a change of calendar, if and when it happens, will be a really positive thing, I believe, for MLS, and losing key pieces. Like, there's two clubs for me stand out. I don't think you lose Ramiro Enrique, and I know Duncan McGuire's back fit, but Ramiro Enrique offered something different going forward. He was that spark plug off the bench, that energizer bunny that would come in and really, really cause problems for defenses. And then the same could be said for Minnesota. Tani Oluwaseyi, I'm watching him play against Real Madrid the other day for Villarreal, and it's a wonderful story. But it still comes at a cost for Minnesota, especially when Kelvin Yeboah picks up a season-ending injury. So, and then you also look at the additions that some teams made. Vancouver knocked it out of the park with Thomas Muller. It's been a home run signing. Son Heung-min, home run signing. I think Milan Losky, leaving San Diego mid-season, they replace him with Amal Pellegrino, not the same caliber of player. And Danilovsky really helps Philadelphia get over the line and win the Supporter Shield. That has been a big story for me, a big theme throughout the season, is the teams that strengthened versus the teams that were weakened by the transfer window.
All right, hit the promo for me, sir. When are you leaving to head north?
Heading off here now, just saying goodbye to the family. I'm only messing. No, I'm heading in a few hours' time. Leaving the home here in Georgia and heading up to take on what is the most fun MLS 360 of the entire year. We've got every single team in action. We're very fortunate that the one Western side that's playing in the Eastern window is already locked in 5th place, and that's the Seattle Sounders. So tomorrow night, get ready for mayhem. Get ready for a bonkers show. Get ready for me interrupting the analysts an awful lot. Because we're going to have so many goals throughout, so many great storylines before we kick off our postseason coverage midweek for the play-in games. I'll be yo-yoing from Georgia back up to our Stamford, Connecticut studios all throughout the month of November, and then MLS Cup December 6th, following the World Cup draw, which, by the way, the World Cup draw, you've got to head to Fido, World Cup Atlanta. I wish I could be there. I can't, unfortunately. I'll be at MLS Cup, but a big, big show at Fido Irish Pub in Buckhead for the World Cup draw. We're going to find out which teams, which nations are coming to Atlanta, Georgia for the World Cup games. You know, we've got 8 games here at the Benz, John. So it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, so that means that when we do senior superlatives for MLS Cup Week, it's going to have to be on Thursday. So we're going to do this all over again on the Thursday before MLS Cup because of the World Cup choosing day on Friday. So Thursday before MLS Cup, we're doing this again with everybody else coming in. You sign the yearbook. Thanks for being a great student. Signed the librarian. You know, we're going to open up the yearbook and those kinds of things. Love you, my friend. Be safe. Have a great show. We got to go. And just have a great call. All right. See you soon.
Love you too, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Chat soon.
All right. There goes Kevin Egan, everybody. So that was unexpected. I just sent Egan a text and I was like, hey, can you come in? But yeah, to his point, here's today. Here's what we did today. And we'll go over the refs again one more time. It was Kacey D, Followill, Kyndra, Dax, Danny, Tyler Terens, Jess, and Kevin Egan. 3, 6, 8. 8 folks. 8 folks came in and crashed the party today in a 2-hour period to discuss everything. So I cannot thank enough. First off, I can't thank Kirk Reynolds at Major League Soccer enough because he kind of was the ringleader for this thing. I went to Kirk and I said, dude, I got an idea. Can we have as many voices from Apple TV on as humanly possible and do it in this window? I'm going to blow out the entire show and we'll just devote everything to decision day. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like a fantastic idea. And I talked to him about it last week. And so he's been orchestrating all this stuff. He got Followill in. He talked to Kyndra, talked to Danny, got Dax in. Like I said, Dax is entertaining family. And so Dax got to hide for like 10 minutes. Probably gave him a nice little bit of oxygen. Kacey D, obviously, Tyler and Jess being OGs, they knew that they could come in and they just let me know that they're coming. And then Kevin Egan, I texted Kevin and told him about it. And then I sent him the email to the link this morning. And so having Kevin in was an added bonus. But having 8 folks in to discuss decision day in Major League Soccer, not knowing when they were going to show up to a degree. I mean, I had a basic idea, but didn't know about Kevin. I'm going back and forth with Jess, trying to figure out if Kacey could make it. And literally, I told Kacey, I said, look, you're waiting for your plane. You're not doing anything. Come in right off the beginning of the show, and then we'll talk about it, and we'll do that. So she came in, and she said that if she landed, and apparently they're being delayed and everything. So we'll find out if she makes it by the end of the show, and that'll be your wraparound for the entire day. So that's been the chaos of the day, and I can't thank Major League Soccer enough. I can't thank those folks enough that came in and visited and trusted us that we would have fun with it and that we would give you information and that we would treat Decision Day with the chaotic reverence that it has by having just as equally a chaotic show. but still inform you and entertain and let you know what's going on. Okay, let me go back into the officials and talk about pro, and we need to get into the center ref and find out about referees and things like that, and we'll get you into all of that material and find out. No there are referee statistics. Come on now. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is find the referee stats and let you know who is there and who is. So Joshua Encarnacion, MLS. So here's what we're going to do. What we're going to do, Encarnacion. All right, so Joshua Encarnacion, no results found. Stop it. All right, so fine. Let's do this. Joshua Encarnacion, MLS ref stats. So that's MLS ref stats. Okay, so let's see if we get any. So there's World Football. There's Soccer Now. October 18th to 24. Glenolden, PA native Joshua Encarnacion, recipient of the first ever MLS Next Pro Ref of the Year award. So he has that history that's attached. Okay, so Joshua Encarnacion, MLS ref statistics. So, okay, so that we got. Nothing like trying to search for something. There we go. Major League Soccer referee statistics. There we go. Okay. So, Joshua Encarnacion on decision day this season, we're going to page 2. Next page. This is his first match. Call up from MLS Next Pro. So, no book on him when it comes to all of the statistics, but this is Joshua Encarnacion's first match of the season when it comes to MLS. So that is where we are here. So Transfermarkt has him listed as one of the referees, accept and continue, and we're going to go down here and we're going to see what's going on. No, I don't care. So I don't want to know about debuts, filter by season. Let's see. Joshua Encarnacion. Do we have anything here that is attached? So, and detailed. I don't want to know about Forever Bloom. Thank you, Transfermarkt. Benjamin Meyer. See, now I'm trying to look at numbers, and I don't see a whole lot of matches that Joshua Encarnacion has been in the middle for in MLS Next Pro. So 3 matches that he's been in the middle in 2025. And so it appears that he has 9 yellow cards. So he averages 3 yellows a match in MLS Next Pro. And so averages 3 yellows in MLS Next Pro when he was center ref this season in 2025, but no book on him in Major League Soccer, considering that this will be his first match of the year being in the middle in Major League Soccer. So Joshua Encarnacion is the man in the middle. And once again, Nick Uranga, Adam Garner, your ARs. Ismail Elfath is your 4th. Drew Fisher, Jeff Mushik are upstairs. Charlotte and Philadelphia, Tori Penso is in the middle. Catherine Nesbitt, Jason White, your ARs. Colin Radosov is your 4th. Kevin Stott, Mike Kampmeinert upstairs. FC Cincinnati and CF Montreal. Timothy Ford, the man in the middle. Keep an eye on that. Andrew Bigelow, Kevin Klinger, your ARs. Sergei Demyanchuk is your 4th. Eunice Marakchi and Claudio Badea are upstairs. Crew and Red Bulls. Marcus de Oliveira in the middle. Corey Richardson, Jeffrey Schwartzel, your ARs. Ricardo Montero Araya is your 4th. David Berry, TJ Zablocki upstairs. Nashville and Messi and Friends, John Freeman in the middle. We'll see if John Freeman can navigate the emotion of that match at Geodis. Ian McKay, Nick Balser, your ARs. Ricardo Fierro is your 4th. Remy Tuchon and Tom Supple are upstairs. Revs and Fire, Pierre-Luc Lozier is the man in the middle. Leah's Arfa, Tyler Wyrostic, your AR. Sergi Boyko is your 4th. Kevin Terry Jr., Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. For the Wonder Twins, NYC and Seattle, Chris Penso is the man in the middle. Ryan Graves, Gianni Facchini, your ARs. Guido Gonzalez Jr. is your 4th. Jeff Gamble and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Toronto and the Purple Team, Fotis Bazakis in the middle. Michael Barwagon, Mike Nickerson, your ARs. Lorenzo Hernandez is your 4th. Soren Stoichka, Robert Schaap are upstairs. 9 o'clock. Colorado and LAFC for Mark Followill and Warren Barton. Rubio Vasquez in the middle. Jeremy Hansen, Jose De Silva, your ARs. Alexis De Silva is your 4th. Kevin Stott, Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Sporting in Houston, Nabil Ben Salah is the man in the middle. Corey Parker, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Ismir Pekmich is your fourth. Carol Ann Chenard and Robert Schapp are upstairs. Galaxy and the Loons. Rosendo Mendoza, the man in the middle. Chris Wadham, Diego Blas, your ARs. Matt Thompson is your fourth. Jorge Gonzalez and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Portland and San Diego. Victor Rivas, the man in the middle. Corey Rockwell and Kevin Locke, your ARs. Malik Badawi is your fourth. Michael Radchuk, Joshua Patlak are upstairs. For Tyler and Kyndra, San Jose and Austin, Philip Duyich is the man in the middle. However, Jeremy Kiso and Gerard Cutter-Lebuy are your ARs. Greg Dopka is your fourth. JC Rivero and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. All caps and RSL. Armando Villarreal, man in the middle. Kyle Atkins, Eric Weisbrod, your ARs. Jair Marufo is your fourth. Daniel Radford, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. White caps in Dallas. Alan Chapman is the man in the middle. Chris Elliott, Felicia Mariscal, your ARs. Elaine Rook is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and TJ Zablocki are upstairs. That is your rundown of all your officials. Remember, Joshua Encarnacion, his first match in Major League Soccer this season falls on decision day for this particular matchup involving Atlanta United. So follow that information forward. All right, so let me say hi to everybody. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. We'll break it all down for you. Morning, Abby. Morning, David. Morning, Alex. Yeah, Abby, because of everything, and because both of them showed up last week, and because of today being today, we're going to have them on next week to talk about Brad. But yeah, we were going to devote the entire show to Decision Day since they both showed up last week. Plan is to have the roof open tomorrow. And David, hopefully we answered your question with Kevin parachuting in late. We need to ask Dax about the banner. Good morning, Fork Card. And David, this was the idea. This was the idea from the absolute beginning of the genesis of it. A fun and chaotic show. And that was what we were looking for the entire time. And I'm glad that it turned out that way. Morning, Dell. Apparently, Abby says another video's in the works for Brad, really be another tearjerker. And that's the question. We don't know. We don't know about the book. We don't know on the book on him, but in the MLS numbers that we have only gives 3 yellows a match so far in 2025 at MLS Next Pro. So we'll keep an eye on it. So morning, Derek. Morning, David. And all of them. Dell says he can't wait. What is the most important game? So let's see. Good morning, Catalucci. Let's bust it down real quick. What's the most important game? Well, they're all important for different reasons, and that was why I wanted to ask that question of Kevin about the chaos in the East. Because if you have the standings out and about, just so we have the standings here, and we can look at the standings themselves. So Philadelphia, they're in the barn, but they're also trying to make sure that they get the big thing. They get supporter shield because they are at 20 wins. And if they end up with the same number of points as Vancouver, then Vancouver would be at 66. Philadelphia would be at 66, but they would have one more win. So that one's important to Philly to try to get the big pie plate. Cincinnati and Miami, their matches are important to them because it decides the 2 and the 3. If there is a tie-breaking situation with points, tiebreaker goes to Cincinnati because they have one more win. So Messi and friends need a result in Nashville that is better than Cincinnati's result hosting CF Montreal if they're going to climb them and get to the 2. Charlotte, NYC, Nashville, Orlando, Chicago, Columbus, all separated by 5 points. So Charlotte and NYC, Charlotte has one more win. So anything where Charlotte and NYC have the same number of points, tiebreaker goes to Charlotte. So NYC needs a better result than Charlotte in their match hosting Seattle than Charlotte does in their matchup hosting the Union. Nashville at 54 points. They're looking for a win against Messi and friends because if they win and Miami and Charlotte and NYC lose, Nashville goes to the 4. If the purple team wins, they would be one place higher. They would be in 6 because if Charlotte and NYC lose, they would have the least number of wins. So Orlando has the least to gain with a win on the weekend. They would be climbing the ladder, and obviously they want to get a big result, but they would have the least jump of anyone heading into the postseason. If they do win and Charlotte and NYC lose, They would all be at 56 points, but Orlando City would have the least amount of wins of the three. Chicago at 52 points. If Chicago wins at the Revs, which is no small feat, considering how much of a wasteland New England can be sometimes and Foxborough, Chicago wins, they can get to 55 points. Nashville loses, they'd be above them. Orlando loses, they'd be above them. So Chicago could finish as high as 6 if things go their way. And that would get them out of the play-in round and into a home playoff series. They get time to rest. Columbus at 51, if they win and folks above them lose, they could finish as high as the 7 because Nashville would have 54 points and 16 wins if they lost. Columbus, if they won, would have 54 points and 14 wins. So everything is in play for one reason or another in the Eastern Conference. It's either the pie plate if you're Philly, positioning if you're Cincinnati and Messi and friends, and positioning from the 4 to the 9 in the Eastern Conference. So there's a lot of stuff going on in play. I would watch MLS 360 if you're not going to be watching. I would have that on one monitor, and I would have Atlanta United if you're not going to the match at Mercedes-Benz to say goodbye to Brad. I would have that on one monitor. I would have MLS 360 on the other because they're going to have live math. This will be a great test for Kevin and his live skills. So in the Western Conference, once again, here's what's in play there. Seattle's in the middle. They have nothing to do. And that's why I wanted to ask both Kacey and Jess what they thought about the lineup that Brian Schmetzer was going to pour out there. And if you missed our conversation with Nico Moreno yesterday, he gives you his answer as well. He thinks it's going to be first choice just to keep your rhythm going. But Seattle cannot improve their position one way or the other. They are stuck at the 5 at 52 points. They can't be caught. They can't catch anybody. So Vancouver at 63 points. They're a minus 208 for a reason. They're a big favorite hosting Dallas. Dallas needs the win probably, or they need points because of the folks chasing them. Vancouver, 63 points. Dallas, 41 points. They're the 8 with RSL looking over their shoulder, Colorado looking over their shoulder, and if it comes down to math with those 3 teams, Dallas is out because they have the least number of wins. Colorado at 40, San Jose at 38. If San Jose was to win and Dallas was to lose, they would both be at 41 points, and then you would go to goal difference, which is right now identical, both at minus 4. So that's your dynamic from 8, 9, 10, and 11, and that's why that match is important. San Diego's match with Portland. San Diego needs a win because if they have the same number of points with Vancouver, they would have one more win at 19 compared to 18. So that's why that match is important to San Diego. LAFC's match with Mark Followill and Warren Barton in Commerce City, Colorado, with all the rabid prairie dogs. It's important to them because they get to 62 points. San Diego loses or draws, then LAFC gets to be the 2 seed. If they lose and Minnesota gets something going on, if Minnesota gets a win on the road at LAG, they could finish as high as 61 points. LAFC could finish as high as 62. If LAFC stumbles, they could end up in the 4, and you could have a 4-5 matchup in round number 1 with Seattle and LAFC. Like I said, Seattle's just keeping an eye on things. They're waiting to see who drops to the 4. Then you look at Austin at the 6. They're 3 points ahead of Portland, but they have the tiebreaker. So Portland would be chasing Austin. If they win, they go to 50. If they lose, they're at 47. If Portland wins, they go to 47. Austin's your 6. So Austin, regardless of result, is your 6. Portland, regardless of result, is your 5. So for Austin, they need to keep the beat. And that's why a lot of folks are just kind of sitting there looking at San Jose getting to 41 points because Austin has problems scoring goals. And Kyndra and Tyler will be seeing that. What happens in that chaotic environment where San Jose knows they need a win to get in and some help. So the 5 and the 6 kind of looking at things and going, So we'll see what happens with that. We mentioned Portland, San Diego FC. Portland, if they win, they go to 47 points, but they would lose the tiebreaker with Austin. Once again, one less win, 13-12. But if Dallas wins, that would put them at 11 wins and 44 points. And then you go to goal difference, which going into today, 1 goal separates Portland and Dallas. So a Portland loss and a Dallas win, if that was to happen at a plus 469 in Vancouver, would tie them at 44 points. You go to goal difference at that point. And like I said, right now it's -3 for Portland, -4 for Dallas. So there's a lot of stuff in play in each conference for different reasons. So if you've got a second device, especially after the match is done at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, keep an eye on all of it. So that's why all of the matchups are there. Has who done any twos matches? And Entity Gaming _J, you're going to get botted out here in a second. Blocking Entity Gaming _J. Reporting Entity Gaming _J. Nothing like ending the week on a bot, you know? So, the ref, we had him with 3 matches in the middle in MLS Next Pro and averaged 3 yellow cards. And this is from our friends at Transfermarkt. So if you can find other numbers, and we may do that just kind of before we go. Center ref averaged 3 yellows a match this season in his MLS Next Pro time in the middle. I want to say that he had to have been more than just 3 matches in the middle, but we'll find out here in a second. So, all right, so if I could spell viewer solicitation bot, then we would do that. So viewer solicitation bot, and that is spelled correctly, and that report has been submitted. So, okay. All right, so let's go back and look. Let's go back and see our friend Mr. Hernandez, and we'll see what all right, so let's go back and we'll workshop this together before we get out of here. So, MLS assignments, match day 40. Joshua Encarnacion. So let's go back and look. And so, like I said, he has no record of anything in MLS. So this will be his first match in Major League Soccer this season. So Joshua Encarnacion like I said, listed as top-ranked referees in March. And so matches as a referee. Let's go to worldfootball.net. So most of his time this year in 2025 has been in other leagues than MLS Next Pro. This is why. So this season in USL Championship, Joshua Encarnacion, 13 matches, USL Championship, 52 yellow cards, 3 reds. All right, so let's do some math here. So Encarnacion, so it was 9 yellows in MLS Next Pro this year. So 3 per match. So 3 matches, 9 yellows in MLS Next Pro. USL Championship, 13 matches in USL Championship. 52 yellow cards. And then it was 3 red cards. So 3 into 13, so 1 in every 4. Open Cup, he had 3 matches in Open Cup. 12 yellow cards, so 4 yellows on average there. Then in the NWSL, he's done 4 matches this year. And he's got 10 yellow cards. So let's see, do we have MLS Next Pro? And nothing in Challenge Cup or anything like that. So let's see, as an assistant, let's see if he has any AR duty this year. And once again, this is from our friends at worldfootball.net. 3 matches 7 years ago in USL Championship. Let's see, record by team. 1 appearance with Atlanta United 2. And that would have been in USL Championship back in May of 23 in a 2-2 draw with Atlanta United 2. So that's the only time that we would have crossed paths with Joshua Encarnacion. It would have been 2 years ago in his time as a center ref. And so refs, okay, so FB ref. No, is that right? Okay, so FB ref is letting me know that where's the Joshua Encarnacion part? Because it listed him as being a part of the scores and fixtures, draft history. Player career, match logs, goal logs. Where are my ref stats? That's what I need. I need ref statistics. And apparently he did an Orlando City match at some point this season. So this is all just statistics. You're not helping the man. You're not helping me out one bit, FB Ref. So hang on. All right. So full site menu below. So if we click on the full site menu, we're looking for player, team, season, finder, stat heads, clubs, competitions, scores, fixtures, countries. Frivolity. I don't need frivolity. I need like actual referee stuff. So nothing like workshopping this on the fly, right? Stat head and FB Ref. FB Ref, football, hockey. No, you're not helping me there either. So that doesn't help out. Okay, so as we have it right now, let's do math. So 27 matches this season in 4 competitions. He has 61, 82, 83. So 83 yellows, 3 reds in 27 competitions and 4 separate platforms. And he also refereed the 2024 MLS Next Cup, the Next Pro Cup. So he reffed the championship game in MLS Next Pro last year. So that was something that we can add to the Joshua Encarnacion statistics. So filter, yes, this detailed view. That's what I need. Finals by name. Yeah, he did North Texas and Philadelphia Union 2 last year. He was the man in the middle for that match in MLS Next Pro. So ref total results, all comps. I don't want. So MLS Next Pro display. So total results for Joshua Encarnacion. 2025, 3 appearances, 9. He did 3 matches, 2 of them involving Philadelphia Union 2, 1 in that's wrong year. So he did Inter Miami and Carolina Core that went to Pens, Union 2 and Columbus Crew 2 on May 11th, and then October the 5th he did Red Bulls 2 and Toronto FC 2. There was a 2-1 match. So right now, once again, 83 yellows in 16 and 7, which is 23. So 23 matches, 83 yellows, 4 different competitions, 3 reds. So you're looking at 3.69, 83, 14 over 23 is like 6. So like 3.6 or 3.7 yellows a match. He's averaging, I don't know how many fouls he's averaging, but we've got the number of yellows per match. And so trying to piece all this together. So Joshua Encarnacion is heavy duty MLS Next Pro, but he's done 4 separate competitions this year: MLS Next Pro, USL Championship, Open Cup, and the NWSL. So he doesn't give a whole lot of yellows. And so that's what we know on Joshua Encarnacion at the moment. 23 matches in the middle, 3 red cards, 83 yellows, an average of about 3.6 a match in his 4 separate competitions. So that's what we've got. Okay. Whew. I think we got there. Yeah, between 3 and 4 yellow cards a match. I don't know how many fouls because they didn't give you the foul numbers. They just gave you the yellows and the red. So in 23 matches, 3 red cards, averages about 3.5, 3.6 yellows a match. But this will be as the MLS Next Pro center ref for the championship game last year, apparently held in high regard in MLS Next Pro, obviously. And so now he's getting his first call up at the big time on decision day, where he gets to do Atlanta and no, that was not as close. It's like I said, I'm doing math with all of you and trying to figure stuff out. Okay. All right. So once again, thanks to all of you for being here today. We've sorted through the ref situation. We've given you a lot of different folks that are attached to Apple, and hopefully we have put enough of a chaotic spin to what's been going on with decision day. It's going to mean a lot to a lot of different folks. And we want you to enjoy the experience, and we hope that you enjoyed this morning. Like I said, we're going to have to do it December 4th because of Decision Day in the World Cup being December 5th, and that's where we're going to be spending all of our time on December 5th, is at various locations letting you know what's going on when it comes to the pot drawings and things like that. So December 5th plans, by the way, we're still trying to figure out venues, but I'll be doing the morning show from somewhere, and then Maddie and Jason will pick it up after that. because it is high school football semifinals Friday, and we'll figure out who's in the championships. But it'll be a part of a long day of programming with us. We'll be live a lot on December 5th. So December 4th, we'll do senior superlatives, and we'll do that leading into MLS Next Cup. Looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow and breaking everything down there and seeing you one final time to say a tip of the cap to Brad Gazan, and it was great to have everybody here as a part of it all. Thanks to Kevin Egan. Thanks to Jess Charman and the GK Union. Thanks to Tyler Terens for co-piloting hour number 1. Thanks to Kacey D, who's on a plane somewhere heading to LaGuardia. Thanks to Dax McCarty, who hid from his family for a couple of minutes. Thanks to Danny Higginbotham. Thanks to Kyndra de St. Aubin. Thanks to Mark Followill. Thanks to Bart Keeler. And thanks to you for being here for the Decision Day chaos in 2025. We're going to catch our breath because we got to turn around and do it all again on Saturday night. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by as you always do. We've got programming coming out today. 2 minutes ago, the new Soccer for US POD came out. Give it a listen. Has to do with the October window in the USMNT. That's out officially now, so you can listen to that before you listen to this, because this has to ingest and keep going forward. So thanks to everybody at Apple TV. Once again, thanks to Kirk Reynolds at Apple TV and all the different things that he had going on. We made it. Decision Day coming up tomorrow afternoon. High school football tonight, McEachern and Hillgrove. That's where I will be. And then Troop and LaGrange on the GPB Sports app. Cody Chaffins will have the call for that. So for the third time in a row. We'll be back Monday to talk about it all. We'll talk about what happened with Atlanta United, DC United, get you ready for the playoffs and everything. As the postseason rush starts Monday, back at it again with Abe and with Bart and everything else that happened on the weekend to get you off and running for the postseason, everything else going on in the world of soccer. For everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by. Because it is Friday and it's the end of the show, you know, that means we got to do this.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are ours, be